Well, welcome to the show.
This is our view from the bench.
Well, welcome to the show. I'm Brendan, the UNLV field manager.
And I'm Corey, the Luxor Hotel assistant bag boy. And happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Thursday, sir.
Happy pre-Super Bowl Thursday and an NBA trade deadline Thursday to you, man. Yes. Happy Thursday. Made it a little bit through this week. Only one more work day for me, so excited for that. How has your work week been so far? I know today was a little bit longer than you expected.
Yeah, the last couple of days actually been pretty nice. I was off Tuesday, so that was my therapy and stretch lab, health self-care day. So that was really good. Felt really loose on Tuesday night. Let's see. Yesterday was just a regular old day at the store. Today, like you said, was much longer. Getting everything prepped for Offspring Night tomorrow at the Honda Center. So a lot of Offspring related merch and jerseys as well. And yeah, just making the event room where you first walk into the store. You know what I'm talking about. It looks like a crazy record store right now with a bunch of stuff and
sick
punk related kind of decor. So it looks really nice and ready for tomorrow. And we'll see how that goes. But other than that, yeah, pretty basic, easy week. How about you, sir?
Yeah, Offspring was our time, man. Offspring was pretty chill, dude. I mean, I'm not saying they're like the greatest band ever, but there's a handful of songs that I like from them for sure. So
yeah, actually, before you go on,
cool.
That's funny that you say that. When they told me we were doing Offspring now, I was like, dope, that's cool. And then I found out it's actually a 3-year contract with them. We're gonna have multiple collab jerseys and shirts moving forward for the next couple of years. And I just thought it was strange because the band members, the two main ones that are still in it, are 55. And then they have a drummer who's 29. He's not even as old as the band is, technically.
Right.
And I just was like, what demographic are we shooting for there then as a marketing
yes.
Because
the answer
we're
is
in Orange
yes.
County and it doesn't really match that age bracket. So I just thought it was weird. But yeah, like you said, we grew up with Offspring. So I'm excited. The guys are going to be in the building tomorrow. We're selling, I think, even an album they made, and they all signed it. So we're selling that tomorrow. So it's going to be an awesome event and crazy. But I just think it's a weird thing for a 3-year deal. I thought just a one night off thing was going to be better, but hey, what do I know? I just sell the t-shirts. I don't make the decisions.
That's right. You don't make the decisions. I did just look up. They are from Garden Grove. That's where they formed. So just down the street, apparently, right?
Yeah, part of it is when since this is the 30th anniversary of the Ducks, when we started the season back in September, they had Gwen Stefani, who is also a local Anaheim Hills, I believe is where she's from. She was the first concert to open the 30-year celebration. And on June 1st, the Offspring will be having a concert at the Honda Center, and they'll be the closing concert for the 30-year run, essentially. So
that's pretty cool.
Both local people and bands, so that's the tie that we're going for there. But yeah, really excited for tomorrow night, and we'll see. Hopefully, we can sell all the merch out.
Yeah, good luck, bro. Good luck. Good luck to the freaking Ducks, actually. Shit, that's who needs the luck.
Yeah, well, that's one other thing.
Well, my week's been decent so far. We talked about a little bit on Monday, we finally got through all this crazy rain. We had the atmospheric river that had basically driven through SoCal. Brought a lot of rain. It was nice though, man, to be honest. I mean, again, not going out in the rain and having to take the dogs out or, driving around, not that kind of stuff, but just having the rain is definitely good. Again, the old man saying, oh, well, we need it. So, but yeah, we're finally past it. Beautiful freaking blue skies and white puffy clouds today. So it was another beautiful day in SoCal. And I'm just happy that the weekend is almost here, and not just any weekend, man. Super Bowl weekend. I'm super stoked for that. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of it is with the NBA trade deadline. We have a little bit of Super Bowl. We finally have our predictions for you and what we think is going to happen. But before we get into any of that, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss any one of the new Our View from the Bench episodes. And if both of them are free. Again, it's free to do. So why not just do it? And if you like what you see, Corey?
Smash that like button.
Smash it for us, man. Smash it. Also free. Nothing costs but maybe a couple seconds of your time to click a button. So whether it's on your phone or
and if you're already listening or you're watching us, I mean, the button's right there. Just go ahead and touch it.
It's right there. Just see it right here. It's just below it. See it right here. Just that right there. There it is. So, anyways, all right. Let's jump into it. We're going to get a couple of NFL notes, I would say out of the way, but some of them are pretty important, especially since the NFL awards were just finally announced. So we'll get to that. But we're going to have a couple notes before that as well. We're going to start off with, I guess, our hometown, not you're not necessarily a fan, but the hometown Chargers. Jim Harbaugh is adding to his coaching staff officially agreed to. Greg Roman is now officially the offensive coordinator for the LA Chargers next season. Pretty excited about this. One of the big ones. He's a very accomplished offensive coordinator who has done a lot. And wasn't he just? He was just with who? The Ravens, right?
Yeah, not last year, but the couple years prior to that. I think
Gotcha.
2018 to 2022, he was the offensive coordinator for John over there. So
All right. See, so he's a Harbaugh. Yeah, I was going to say he goes in between the brothers, but that's not right. So, but yeah, he's a Harbaugh fan and works for the brothers there. So that's good. But yeah, excited for this, man. What do you think?
yeah, I think it's perfect. Not only has he worked for John the last few years, he actually worked with Jim in San Francisco when they were having their run back then, I think 2011, 2014. He worked for Harbaugh as the associate head coach at Stanford back in 2009 and 2010. So there's a long history there. They obviously have a very similar thought process of how they want to run an offense. And knowing that your quarterback is Justin Herbert definitely makes things a little bit easier and less of a mobile quarterback like Lamar Jackson was. That was the whole thing that him and Roman kind of clashed heads because of the way they ran their offense and what Lamar's strengths and weaknesses are. So I think
Mhm.
Herbert will fit a little bit more into what their thought process is and how they want to do things. So I think it's a win-win for everybody at that point.
Yeah, Herbert's not immobile, but yeah, he's definitely no Lamar Jackson. Let me not,
Yeah.
let's not get it
Yeah, more
twisted
of
for
a
sure.
pocket guy.
Yeah, yeah, and this is not a shot. I don't want to have any sort of controversy at Colin Kaepernick, but this is definitely a step up from Colin Kaepernick. Justin Herbert is one of the top probably 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the league, and there was obviously a lot of controversy on where Kaepernick fits. So I think this will be awesome. I think it's going to be a great fit. And like you said, I mean, they've already worked together in not only just one previous professional one, but also at Stanford. So, and again, it's not like Greg Roman is coming off of 5 to however many 6 year stint that Harbaugh was in the college realms. He was obviously recently here in the pros, so not too out of touch. Not too out of
Yeah.
touch.
Which I got to think also doesn't just help them on the offense, but helps their new defensive coordinator they brought from Michigan, who is only coached in the college game. So having
Oh
a
yeah.
veteran offensive coordinator to like learn how teams in the NFL kind of tend to do things is going to make his job easier as far as being getting the defense ready. And we talked about the Chargers have one of the better rosters, at least on paper. Now might be some changes like Khalil Mack and stuff since they're over the cap by quite a few
Yeah.
million dollars, but the idea of having somebody who has been in the NFL for a while and gives you an idea of what you're going to go up against every day or every week, I should say, when you face an opponent, I think is a win for them as well on that side.
Agree. I'm excited to see kind of what it looks like. Obviously, it's a long road ahead for the Chargers. They have been stuck in mediocrity for some time now, basically since the height of the Philip Rivers LT,
Man, that was fun
team.
times.
Good times for sure. So it's been a minute, but they have, like I said, like we both said, that we think they have all the pieces, and obviously getting Jim Harbaugh into the building to kind of create that winning culture is the biggest piece. So him adding to his coaching staff is just going to get stuff moving along.
It should. It should.
Moving along. Before we get to the NFL awards, Corey found this incredible clip.
This is so good.
Basically, someone is getting mossed, like Randy Moss. Corey, please explain a little bit to this, and then we'll roll the clip.
Yeah, so this is hilarious. So Boomer Esiason, as part of the Boomer and Geo radio show they have back, I think in Philadelphia is where they do it. They're in, everybody's on Radio Row and Super Bowl weekend in Vegas, and they're on the air live when this happens because not like most shows do on the radio. They let their producers kind of chime in and talk, so they have them off to the side and they ask like, "Hey, like what time is Randy Moss going to be here? Like when's he going to be here on the show today?" Or what is no? I think the question was what is he promoting? And he mentions, "Oh, this and that," and then he wants to talk a little bit about horse racing. And that's when things kind of come together for Geo and Boomer, and they
Mm-hmm.
realize, I don't think we're
Wait a
getting the right
minute.
Randy Moss on this show.
What is Randy Moss promoting, by the way, Al? Do you know?
It's something having to do with horse racing.
Really?
He's very into horse racing.
Are you sure this is the right
Yeah.
not
This
the
is
other Randy Moss?
the wide receiver, not Randy.
Is there another Randy
Yes.
Moss?
There's a
There's an announcer, Randy Moss,
who is into horse
who's
racing.
into horse racing.
Please tell me that's fake.
No.
That would
No.
be so awesome.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God!
Oh
because they
no.
said, I saw in the request that Randy would like to talk about blah blah blah. Also, anything NFL related. I'm a double check that.
Or maybe the Randy Moss who is the sports announcer, the horse racing announcer.
He used to work for the NFL Network.
Come on.
I swear to God.
Yes.
How's that possible? This is great.
Oh, Jesus!
This is horrible.
This is what Mark Chernoff's talking about. You lazy ass.
I
You're not doing any follow through.
I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because we have a great setup and everything is great, but I can't catch a break when it comes to some of this stuff, right? Like Dua Lipa's in New York when we're out here. I think we're getting Randy Moss. We're getting the white Randy Moss. I mean, come on.
Just wanted to check to see if you would be interested in current NBC sports broadcaster and former NFL Network broadcaster and reporter.
That's right.
You booked the white Randy Moss.
Oh my God! You idiots!
First of all,
And I was thinking, there's no way Randy Moss is coming here.
no wonder they were so excited too. The person was like, "Oh no, he will definitely be there."
Oh my God!
Listen, in all fairness, this person has got to say, just to be clear, this is not take the top off the defense, Randy Moss.
Look,
this is embarrassing.
By the way, I do like the broadcaster Randy Moss. He's a very nice guy. He loves horse racing.
Yes.
We love horse racing.
We're not
with Lee
doing
Einsiedler. But I can't wait to hear you call them back and say, we're going to have to cancel.
No, 100%. I'll have no problem because I'll say this is misleading. This is very misleading. And you can't say NFL Network, talk about NFL, and then you're rolling out a horse racing Randy Moss? That's so fugazi.
Wait, time out. Now, you've watched the Kentucky Derby.
I have not.
You haven't.
I mean, I've seen it on a screen. I don't know who's calling that.
You haven't watched like the Preakness, the Belmont, the Randy Moss
No,
reporter. He's
never heard
white,
of Randy
balded
Moss.
head guy like you.
No. If a white balded guy like me showed up saying I'm Randy Moss for the interview, I'd say, what?
Wait, do you understand? Just by me asking what is Randy Moss promoting, we found this out. It would have been so much funnier if that other Randy Moss showed up and I was here with my Viking sweatshirt and my picture that I packed of me and him in Turks and Caicos.
This is total bull. This is total bull.
I wish I never asked.
I wonder how many people have this Randy Moss booked thinking they're going to get number 84.
Probably, we're not the only ones.
Again, you have to remember when we're doing this here locally, there's no way these guys are coming over. I mean, it was hard enough getting, like, James Brown called me and basically booked himself. And I said, you're coming in studio. You're not calling from your hotel room.
This is disappointing.
When he said he's a huge horse racing guy, I'm like, I said,
Red flag.
And Al goes, please tell me this is a joke.
Man,
nope, there's a white Randy Moss.
Camera's focused on
There he
him.
is. There he is.
There's the white Randy Moss.
I know who he is. He looks just like you, Al.
I mean, to be nice, I'm sure this Randy Moss is a great guy. Obviously, Boomer talks about how he does know of him and know him a little bit. He's, worked with him or something, but it's not the Randy Moss. And like the producer says, no, you need to disclose that. You can't be talking about football and all this kind of stuff and not know, hey, just so we're on the same page. This is not, NFL Pro Bowl wide receiver Randy Moss. He's a Hall of Famer, I'm assuming, right? If not, he's crazy.
Yeah, if he's not by already, he should be.
Yeah, so they're not talking about that Randy Moss. You gotta disclose details, man. Attention to details.
Yeah, and the funniest part is the guy who's the producer is a bald white guy, and they tell him he's white. He kind of looks like you, and then at the end of the clip, as you saw, they show a picture of the guy, and he looks exactly like that guy. He's a bald white guy, and then the Geo guy we got the white Randy Moss. Like he just can't get over the fact that he was going to bring all his Viking gear, and it turns out, thank God I didn't, because it's not the right guy.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Poor Randy Moss. He thought he was going to be able to go and talk to Boomer Esiason about football during, especially the Super Bowl, during Super Bowl weekend, or the lead-up week, I guess you could say, going to Vegas and do all this stuff. And, they quickly had to call him and say, thank you, but no thank you.
Would have loved to see when he gets on there in the air, and the guy said when he walks up and says, "Hi, I'm Randy Moss." I would have been like, "What? Who are you?"
Yeah, right. Anyways, are you calling for Randy? Is he in the car? Are you just coming here early? Right.
Like, what are we talking about here?
No, me. Randy Moss shows his ID. Like, holy shit, we got the wrong guy.
Uh-oh.
That would have been funny. So we thought that was kind of funny. Corey found that was great. That was great. Let's break into some of the awards, though, before we get into the Super Bowl. We do have, some things to talk about in the Super Bowl. Again, we got to get to our picks. But first, the regular season awards have officially been announced. Some of these were kind of like, duh, right? You still got to wait for them to be announced. But, based on, how they played that season, it's kind of easy to see. Let's go every other on this one, man. I'll start. Offensive Player of the Year. kind of an easy one, man. We talked about it. We both actually predicted it at the beginning of the season. It is running back Christian McCaffrey for the San Francisco 49ers, who is
Yeah.
also the FedEx Ground Player of the Year. So that one was kind of easy one, dude. As long as that dude's healthy, that dude's an animal. So
Not only
congrats
that,
to Christian.
he had a whole year under Shanahan, a training camp. Like last year, he got traded in the middle of the year and still had a great half of the season. When he had a full camp and knows the offense inside and out, they have all their weapons at their disposal. Easy pick for me, I think, at that point.
Agree.
All right, so defensive player of the year. Actually, I got this one correct when we did our picks in August as
Yes, you
well.
did.
I had
Yes, you
it
did.
from the get-go. Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns takes home the defensive player of the year.
Congrats to him. A lot of controversy. I know that
Yep.
people on the Twitterverse were talking about how he doesn't have necessarily the stats to back it up. I somewhat agree because most of the time these awards are based on the stats you produce. Micah Parsons, I know, chimed in and replied to a handful of these texts or messages, at least one of them saying it's not always about the stats. You got to watch the game. I wish football fans would actually watch the game instead of just look at the stats, which could be true, right? But I guess them being on the one of the best defense, if not the best defense in the league, kind of helped. The sad part is, like, dude, they got fucking rolled
Yeah.
by the Texans in the first round. So I don't know how effective Myles Garrett was there. I saw how ineffective the Steelers were without T.J. Watt in their playoff game. So
Very true.
I don't know anybody else besides T.J. Watt, basically, and Joey Porter Jr. because you picked him for possible defensive rookie of
Rookie.
the year.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really know anybody else besides TJ Watt, and he had a lot of better numbers than what Myles Garrett did. But hey, I don't know if it's voter fatigue or maybe Myles Garrett really did
Always is
earn
a
it.
part of it.
I won't pick it. I won't say either way, but congratulations to Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I think too, we got to think about this as a regular season award. So these are all turned in and voted for before the playoffs start. So before that debacle the Browns had against the Texans, they were already voted in. And voter fatigue could be a thing. I mean, they always talk about how Jordan could have won MVP every year he played, but they decided to kind of move it around a little bit. Jokic won back to back, and then they gave it to Embiid, even though Jokic had a better year than the previous year that he won it. So that could
Yep.
definitely be a part of it as well.
Yeah. Moving on though. Congrats to Myles. Speaking of those Houston Texans, offensive rookie of the year, my main man, CJ Stroud, dude. Congratulations, CJ Stroud. This is one that we didn't see. Not that we didn't think CJ would be good, but we just thought the Texans as a whole were
Yes.
going to be bad. There's a reason why they were picking at 2 picks, basically. I know they traded, but 2 picks in the top 4. And this is why they were 3-13-1 last year. But damn, did CJ turn it around. Not only obviously getting them into the playoffs, hosting a game because they win their division, but then beating those vaunted Browns who, watch out for that defense. I mean, they rolled them easily.
Yeah.
I think the biggest one, I know we picked Zay Flowers, or I picked Zay Flowers, and you picked who did you pick for offensive
Jordan
rookie? Do you
Addison.
remember? Jordan Addison. Honestly, I think both had great years, but you can't really top the quarterback position, right?
Yeah, and if it wasn't going to be CJ Stroud, it would have been Puka Nacua because he broke the record for
Yes.
most yards and everything as a rookie wide receiver. So I think the fact that, like you said, the Rams were not a great team the year before, but with Stafford, their wide receivers tend to have good seasons. And
all
CJ
Stafford.
Stroud on the Texans, nobody expected them to even win probably more than 5 games, let alone go over 500 and win a playoff game, like you mentioned, at home and hosting one as a division champ. So that's hard to argue with their thought process here. And it's just something for the Texans to build on. And going with that theme, the defensive rookie of the year actually is Will Anderson Jr., who is also on the Houston Texans. So they're doing something right down there as far as scouting players and drafting guys.
Yeah, definitely. Those were their first 2 picks in the NFL draft this previous season. I know, going back to nobody thought the Texans were going to be good. I know as a Cardinals fan, I was definitely rooting for the Texans to be bad because we have their first round pick this year, which is basically in the 20s and no one cares anymore.
Yeah,
So I
true.
was hoping to have some 2 top 10 picks because I knew the Cardinals were going to be bad, and not necessarily hoping the Texans were going to be bad, but for that pick alone, it would have been nice. But yeah, congratulations to CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, and obviously D'Amico Ryans, who's heading the whole thing. Texans really got some stuff going on there, and it's with a bunch of young people.
And
It's
not only
nice to
that,
see.
remember, their offensive coordinator is coming back to hopefully build on this
Yes,
with
Bobby
CJ Stroud.
Slowick.
And they've got a bunch of money in cap space, so they should be able to bring in some weapons for him. And hopefully next year it's even a step up in the right direction. Go Texans if it's not going to be Titans, because I'm not rooting for the Jags ever or the Colts.
Yeah, true. And I remember we were confused a couple episodes ago. We couldn't remember who it was. Nico Collins was the other
Oh,
receiver that they
Colin.
have
Yes,
outside of Tank
yes.
Dell. So they got some young people again, bringing in some more weapons, maybe some more veteran weapons. I think CJ. I think the offense was doing well. Maybe some more time for him, and that I think bringing back Dalton Schultz would be pretty big. He's a really good
Yep.
tight end, a nice safety net for him. So maybe getting him like a nice 2-year contract would be pretty helpful. But yeah, dude, Texans are kind of turning it around. Texans kind of turning around. I
I don't
like it.
know.
I like it.
I don't know if the Texans could pull this off because of where their draft pick is this year, but if they could trade down a little bit and get Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, that would be like perfect for them, because then they'd have a bunch of young guys to build that offense around moving forward.
I think he's gonna be top 10. So it's kind of like you said, it'd
Yeah,
be
it'd be
kind of
hard.
hard to kind of get him. But they, wishful thinking, right?
Yeah. Hey, if you got picks in order to get the top two of them in the top 5 a year ago, maybe you decide, let's go all in and try to move up and really go for it. Because again, you have a ton of cap space. So again, we'll see what they do, but I just think it'd be an interesting idea.
Moving to coach of the year. I don't remember who either of us had because I don't really remember picking.
Yeah, I
But
don't really remember. Trying to think,
we're
who would I
going.
even have picked?
Yeah, me. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think you picked or maybe I picked the Saints head coach or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't
Allen.
remember.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. So,
We
but the
both had the
winner this
Saints
year.
winning the division and doing a lot more good things this year, so that's very possible.
Yes, very true. Winner this year, though, is Kevin Stefanski. After going through 7 quarterbacks and one of them being a rookie. Okay, maybe it wasn't 7. I think it was 4, but still 4 or
At least
5.
5.
Yeah, 5. You're right. And granted, they got their ass beat in the first round of the playoffs, but a huge, what were they, 11-6 record or 12-5 record out of the AFC North? One of
Mhm.
the, if not the hardest division in football, being that every single team was above 500. First time in NFL history. Granted, as Corey noted, it might be because previously you could be at 500, but hey, over 500 is over 500. So
It's gonna
very, very
be
difficult division,
it's
and
gonna be a
he
thing
took it.
moving forward. You're only gonna be able to be 500 or under or over moving forward. There's not gonna be less games going on, so it'll only continue to be either happening again in other divisions, or they might be one of the only one that does it for the next 10 to 15 years.
Unless something happens, which we hope not, like the Damar Hamlin thing with the Bengals and the Bills, where they each played only 16 games that season.
That's a good
You're
point.
right. That's basically not going to happen.
Good point. I kind of forgot about that. Which, speaking of comeback player of the year, there was a lot of controversy kind of going into this, that a lot of people thought Damar Hamlin would get it. The fact that he was able to come back and be on the roster in general for the Buffalo Bills, but it ended up going to Joe Flacco, who, halfway through the season was still on his couch at home, and then was able to step in and get the Browns not only, like you mentioned, an AFC North title, but in the playoffs. Although it didn't go very well against Houston, like we mentioned before.
Nah. No, this is probably the only person I think it could have gone to. There's 2 others that I think should have been considered, and this is not including Damar Hamlin. I think in order, it'd probably be Baker Mayfield because nobody believed in this dude, and they all thought
Yep.
the Bucks,
Good
including
pick.
myself, would be towards the bottom of the barrel. And then after that, I would put probably Tua. Which is who I actually picked at the beginning of the
That
season. But
is, yes.
yeah, I don't think any of us picked Joe Flacco because he wasn't in the league.
He wasn't on a roster, and not even until October. So how would we have picked that in August?
Yeah, seriously. I did
Keep
see
that in mind for
somebody
next year.
though. Yeah, exactly, right? Just pick somebody who's not even playing. How can we put money on somebody who's not even playing? Let's find that guy. I did see though on the internet that somebody after Joe Flacco's first game, somebody decided to throw $1 on comeback player of the year and won him $250. So good for him.
Hey,
Hey.
nice. What a turnaround. God, you should have done at least $5 or $10 if you're just gonna waste $1. Who cares? Why not 5?
Yeah, true. Dang, could have freaking had a lot more money. That would have been nice. thousand
Oh yeah.
bucks right there or more.
It happens.
And finally, with the most important, I guess you could say, but it was kind of a runaway, and we saw this coming. Now,
Called it.
arguably, yeah, you did. Arguably, you also called Super Bowl and finals.
Yeah, well, we don't have to talk about that right now. We haven't gone to our picks.
Lamar Lamar Jackson wins his second MVP. Although, if you really look at the stats, especially in today's day and age in football, his stats don't really necessarily lean towards him being MVP based on passing touchdowns, etc. But he was the best player on the best team in the NFL, and led them as such. So I think he earned it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, the only reason I picked him in the first place back in August is again, coming off the free agency debacle of like him representing himself and them not wanting to give him a deal initially, and then does he go somewhere else? Do they franchise him? And I just thought he was going to come out with a motive to like prove everybody wrong and that he was worth all the money that he was able to get in the offseason. And it worked out, and they got the
And
number
you were
1
right.
seed, which I didn't even have. I didn't even have that. I had him at the 2 seed, losing or beating the Ravens, beating the Chiefs in the AFC title game at Arrowhead. And I mean, I think they played the Chiefs, but they did not beat them.
No, nor were they at Arrowhead, which is something that
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is going to take to the bank because he's always been told, no, you can't win on the road. You only have had home games. Well, at Buffalo, at Baltimore, two very tough places to play,
Oh yeah.
and took it home. So, congratulations to Lamar Jackson. I know, seeing that we're in Black History Month, it's the first time two black quarterbacks have won MVP back to back, and Patrick Mahomes last year and Lamar Jackson this year. I know Patrick
Nice.
Mahomes is a little light skinned, but technically,
Yeah.
technically.
No. It's like Steph Curry. I mean, he's light skinned, but he is black.
Yeah,
It's okay.
he is black. Very true. Very true. So, congratulations, Lamar, and congratulations for going home. Because go Patrick. No offense. No offense.
That's
Speaking
nice.
of Patrick, we're gonna move right in. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're gonna move right into the Super Bowl. We're gonna save our picks for last. We're gonna keep you watching for a little bit, but we do have a couple of notes. I think we have a pretty big question here going into it because this is kind of what you said was going to be the biggest matchup, right? Is this Kyle Shanahan offense against the Steve Spagnuolo defense? The question I have for you, Corey, is Steve Spagnuolo the best defensive coordinator that we have in the league today?
I mean, I guess it would be kind of hard to argue against it when you look at his numbers. He is the only coordinator in NFL history to win a Super Bowl with multiple teams. He did it with the Giants back when they beat the Patriots. I believe that was the first time they faced off, which obviously we know how that ended with the Tyreek helmet catch. And
I don't
then
want to talk
was
about
the
it.
he's been for the Chiefs the last 2 times they've won. So he's got 3 Super Bowls under his belt as a defensive coordinator. And a lot of people on the organization and the roster themselves this year on the Chiefs say that this is the best year they've had under him. And you look at the numbers, it's kind of hard to argue that. So yeah, I would think in today's day and age game, like just right now, who we're talking about, not like best of all time necessarily, but he's
Right.
got to be the best one in the league right now. He's going to his 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. I know Andy Reid's the head coach, but you do have to play both sides of the ball, and Spagnuolo takes care of the defensive side.
Yeah, Andy Reid, I mean, I won't speak for the guy, but he seems to be so focused on offense, he don't have time for defense. I'm
Exactly.
99% sure Spagnuolo runs 100% of that defense,
Absolutely.
and deservingly so. I would agree with you. We'll see how it plays out this Sunday against a very smart and creative Kyle Shanahan. But the only thing I'll say to that is Andy Reid is very smart and creative as well. So being able to
Yes.
practice against a genius mind, I guess you could say, on the offensive side of the ball is quite helpful. So I do agree, though.
Absolutely.
Currently, in today's day and age, I know that there's been technical better defenses that have been, ranked. I know the Ravens, who we just talked about, who they beat in the AFC Championship game, had a lights out defense this year. But yeah, I mean, they lost for a reason, I guess, right?
Absolutely. Defense wins championships, as they say.
And I'm hoping that kind of carries over to Sunday. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not hoping. I don't know. We'll get to our picks in a second. Corey, you found this pretty cool stat. I like this. Teams that travel west have a 7-0 record versus teams that travel east for the Super Bowl in the last 30 years. Right now, obviously, the Chiefs, being in the middle of the country, are heading west to Arrowhead West, which is Allegiant Stadium. And the 49ers are traveling from the actual ocean all the way over to Vegas, so they are traveling east. Doesn't necessarily bode well for the 49ers, but again, these are just some random takes. It's not like the Niners are traveling very far. It is
No.
literally a 3-hour drive from us, and from them, they technically have to come down to SoCal in order to go around because the mountain range right there. It's about a 9-hour drive from them. Obviously, they're not driving. I'm just saying I'm poor and I would. So,
I mean, NFL
yeah, I
teams don't
mean,
drive the games.
no, yeah, they all drive themselves for sure. Yeah, no, they don't take a team bus or anything. No, obviously they flew into Vegas, but I mean, it's kind of a cool stat, kind of an interesting one. But I guess we'll see how it plays out on Sunday, right?
Yes, we will. And the other weird fact I saw that goes on to this, we talked about the rematches that have happened over the years of the Super Bowl between teams, but this is the rematch between the same 2 coaches. And the last 3 times that this has happened, when 2 coaches have gone against each other in the Super Bowl for a second time, the winning coach from the first matchup is 3-0 in the second set. So again, numbers for Andy Reid and that side. They know each other. They obviously played each other a few times and in the biggest game before. And we always talk about too. Andy Reid is so good with an extra weekend to prepare with the bye, and this is kind of a bought-in bye when you get to the Super Bowl. You get that extra week to get healthy and get ready and try to do, as much homework as you possibly can at this point. I don't know how much more there is to do. You kind of know everybody's tendencies at this point when you're 19 games in now with the playoffs.
Yeah, very true. It's definitely something to consider, and this stat is a little bit more relevant to me than traveling. Obviously, head-to-head matchup up against specific coaches seems more relevant. But again, dude, I don't know. I just can't necessarily count the Niners out. They've been favored in every game for a reason. I know, against all odds, like
I
they
was
would
just gonna
say on
say,
their
what are you
Twitter.
talking about?
I know they've really had a rough road being the absolute favorite in all 20 games that 19 that they have played and the 20th that they will play on Sunday. Granted, it's only 2.5 points, but technically the favorites. So, against all odds, man. Oof.
It's all odds when you're favored for every game. Makes sense. Again, whatever
I
you got to
get why.
do to build your own bulletin board material, especially. But the other thing too is we talked about it. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast or we were talking about it when we were just prepping the other day. But the Niners have been the team really complaining all week about things and you haven't heard a word out of the Chiefs about any kind of complaints. So be interesting to see if maybe that's more of a distraction and the Niners not focusing completely on the task at hand.
Maybe. I know that one thing, I forgot who said it, but I was watching First Things First, and they had a former either coach or player, or maybe it was current, I really don't remember, but somebody who's been with Andy Reid before. If there is one thing, he would rather have you suck during the game than have you say anything about the opponent or about the game ahead of time. He is the exact opposite. He hates bulletin board material. What would you say?
I said that's my kind of coach because I'm the same way. Every time we talk about guys like the Niners in the NFC title game, the Lions guy with Gardner Johnson was waving goodbye when they were up 21-7. It's like, dude, the game is not over yet. Don't say anything until you basically kill the animal in front of you. Like choke it down, make sure you killed it, and then you can talk all the crap you want. But until it's done, shut up and stay
It's
on
not done.
task and do your
Yeah.
job.
And that's one thing that Andy Reid does not like. So, Travis Kelce's been giving his flowers to George Kittle all week. And anybody that has asked the Chiefs questions, they either don't say anything negative or only have positive things to say. I don't remember the person's name, and maybe you can help me here, but there was a defensive player, I think it was a corner or a safety, that played for the Chiefs during their Super Bowl win, who is now a Niner. And they kind of basically asked the difference about, what's the difference between these two teams? And he said, oh, it's better over here. It's better
In
at
every
here being
way.
San Francisco. Yeah, in every way. It's like, damn, you literally won a Super Bowl with this team. Why are you that's more bulletin board material that they,
Yep.
oh, they hold too much. Oh, the field suck. Oh, it's better over here. Like, just like Corey said, shut the hell up.
The field is what it is at your practice facility. There's no changing at this point. Everything the NFL has situated this months in advance, regardless of who is going to be there. And we mentioned the AFC team is the host, so the AFC team gets to go to the Raiders practice field. The NFC visiting team gets to go to the secondary way to travel or to practice, just like last year. It was in Arizona. Was it Arizona last year?
Yep. And the
Okay.
Eagles got to play at Cardinal Stadium and practice at the stadium.
And the Chiefs had to go to ASU and practice at a college facility, and they still were able to focus on it and win the game. So again, shut up and just do your job. And you mentioned Kelce like giving Kittles all his flowers. I have a question. This is totally off topic, and I just thought about it because I read about it the other day. Is Kelce not like exactly like Gronkowski, where he's going to go into WWE after when they were on that stage during media? And they're talking, and everyone's booing the crap out of Kelce. And he's like, yeah, Niner fans, I love it. Like, I love the boos more than the cheers. Like, he's a perfect, like, fun guy heel to be in WWE if he decides to hang it up early and not be super old and beat up. I could easily see him doing something like Gronk and being in a WrestleMania randomly somewhere. That just totally fits his whole vibe.
Great question. You've got to fight for your rights.
That would be his walkout song.
Yeah, no, 100%. The only other thing that I would say is, and I mean this in the nicest way, I'm a huge Gronkowski fan. I love Rob. But Travis seems to be, again, in the nicest way, a little sharper as well. So I think he would play a character really well, kind of like how The Rock is. He kind of got everything kind of clicking, and Gronk's just kind of like a goofball who does a great job. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's hilarious. That's a funny take, and yeah, I could definitely see that. He loves being on the mic. He loves fighting for his right to party.
I would love to see Gronk and Kelsey go at it in a WWE match on the pay-per-view. That would be the most, or at least in a tag team, so they have somebody else who's a professional and can make it look
Ooh.
a little bit better. But a
Yeah.
tag team event, maybe The Rock in one of them, and then if you can get Stone Cold to come back with the other or whatever, something like
Or
that.
John Cena. John Cena.
Oh, there you go. That'd be a good one. Or even Roman
Because
Reigns, because I think there's a whole thing right
oh
now
yeah,
between
true. Between
Roman
Rock and
Reigns and The Rock, and I think
yeah.
they're like related somehow too. So that would be a lot of
That's
fun.
just racist. They're freaking just because they're from the islands doesn't mean
I'm
they have to
like
be related.
90% sure I
Jeez.
remember them being related. I'm sure that's a
Just
story. I'm
kidding.
not
Maybe they
making
are.
that up.
Yeah, whatever, bro. I get it. Hate
Just
on the
because you're
Pacific
part Hawaiian,
Islanders.
you can't just pull
That's
that
right,
card.
baby.
What
You
the
see
hell?
that? You see that? Look at that flag. Woo! Look at that. That's right. That would be pretty crazy, though.
All right, I've sidetracked us enough. Let's get back to the football.
No worries. No worries. I know when we're talking about the odds are stacked against the Niners. We have odds of our own, though. Corey and I have decided to put together a parlay. We know we suck at it, but that's not the point. The
It's the
point is
last
that we're going to
game.
have fun doing it. It's the last game of the season. So we each threw in $25. We have a $50 parlay. We'll put it up on the screen here for you. For those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see what we're talking about. For those of you listening on Apple or Spotify, we thank you. We thank you for it. However, if you ever wanted to go and see, all these fun things that we're talking about, videos, or check out our ugly, beautiful faces, feel free to go check us out. Search Our View from the Bench on YouTube. But again, back to the bet. On the screen for the YouTube audience. I'll run it down quickly. I'll take the first half. You take the second. Cool?
Yeah, let's go.
So $50 could win $866.23. So that'd be $916 total. Obviously, you get the $50 back. The first three, touchdown related. Okay? We got Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown, because duh, I guess is all I have to say to that, right?
We just talked about him winning Offensive Player of the Year, so definitely an opportunity.
He might be able to get in the end zone on this one, right? And that's the one weakness that the Chiefs defense has is they're not necessarily the best against the run. So I know they're going to be trying to sell all out for that and make Brock Purdy beat them, but Christian McCaffrey is another animal. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a rushing touchdown. It could be a passing touchdown, Christian McCaffrey. All he can't do, he just can't throw it. That's it. That won't count.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Another touchdown, we have Travis Kelce because, Taylor Swift is going to be there, and he said he has to bring home some hardware, and if it means him getting in the end zone to get it, then he's going to have to do so. And the third one that we have here is Patrick Mahomes passing 2 or more touchdowns. He in each of the Super Bowls that he's played in, he has done that, so we're hoping that he carries that theme forward.
I think I feel good about all three of those. Okay, now the last 4 that we have here, because we went really crazy and decided to do a big one here, but we're trying to win some money, man.
Yeah, make it
so
worth
we
it.
have Isaiah Pacheco with 70-plus rushing yards, which he's been pretty good. The Chiefs tend to run really well, and again, the Niners gave up a ton of running yards to both Aaron Jones on the Packers and to the Lions last week when they had Montgomery.
Gibbs and Montgomery.
Thank you. I couldn't think of Gibson's name.
Yeah.
And then we have Rashee Rice with 50-plus receiving yards, who without if they're going to double Kelsey and focus on him, Rice is going to probably have a big game, so we feel really good about that one.
Catch it.
And then again, going back to Christian McCaffrey, if he's going to score a touchdown any way he can, we also want him to run the ball for more than 80 yards, which I feel
80 plus.
Good about that.
Yes,
and the last one is over 47.5 points. We both think this is not going to be necessarily a shootout and score 30 each, but 24 each is not that hard to do with these two offenses, I feel like.
Yeah, agreed. This is probably the one I'm most worried about is the over, to be honest with you, in case it does turn into a defensive battle. But yeah, dude, I kind of feel good about this. $50 or $25 wins us $433 each. That's not bad for an afternoon of work. Not necessarily our work, but we picked
somebody's
work.
Gonna do it.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan when it comes to betting of picking winners, unless we're doing like an entire week of football where we're just picking the winners of games. I feel like that is a jinx because like, what if everything happens and just the team that you thought would win doesn't, and I'd just be irritated. So we didn't pick a winner, but we each have picked a winner, just not to include into the parlay. You want to get into that, my friend?
Oh, man, here we go. Who's winning the last game of the year?
It's going to be exciting. The time has come. Super Bowl weekend is here. Again, I'm excited to watch the game, but I'm nervous at the same time, partly for my parlay and partly because Corey knows this, okay? With my past Super Bowls, besides when I root for Tom Brady, the 7 times, because obviously he has lost 3, so those ones I was. Normally the team that I want to win loses. And I am 100% rooting for the Chiefs this weekend. So that just makes it seem like the Niners are going to win. And I do think that the Niners have all the tools to kind of get this thing done. As much as people want to put Brock Purdy down and say that, he just is a system quarterback and stuff like that. Nick Wright had a fun distinguishing note today when I was watching his First Things First take. There's a difference in his opinion between game manager and system quarterback. And I actually kind of liked his distinction. System quarterback is the quarterback who fits really just in that system. But anybody can be, and maybe sometimes needs to be, a game manager, including what kind of Patrick Mahomes has become this year, especially in this postseason. And the defense is so good. I just don't need to mess up. Yeah, I need to score points. That's what we got to do. But being that game manager is a role that kind of anybody can take on. So again, I know people want to put Brock Purdy in that system quarterback room, but he fits it and he runs the offense damn near perfectly. Probably Brandon, the last pick of the draft, but a little bit better than Jimmy G has. So a lot of talking heads on TV are, in my opinion, switching up their opinions. They've been down on the Chiefs all year. Oh, they got nobody to throw to. They have to go to Buffalo. Oh, they have to go to Baltimore. And all of a sudden, their lack of faith in the Chiefs is turning into an overwhelming being fanboys and fangirls for the Chiefs. So I know a lot of people are picking them on television, and rightfully so. They're a great team. Again, I'm rooting for the Chiefs, but I do think that the Niners are going to extract their vengeance this year and win their 6th Super Bowl in franchise history. The Chiefs have a solid defense. They are missing some key pieces, though. Some of them being Omenahu, which is a great defensive end that is the one who had that strip sack on Lamar Jackson in the AFC title game, and Joe Thuney, the guard that is, one of Patrick Mahomes' saving graces on that offensive line. They're also going to be missing Jerick McKinnon, who technically hasn't played too much, but he's a lightning in a bottle out of the backfield and a great pass catcher for Patrick Mahomes on any sort of outlet. So they're missing them. I'll save my score until you go, but I am taking the Niners to win this game.
Oh, okay. Well, again, you're going against your typical luck. It seems like every year when you root for one team and it goes
whatever I root for loses, so I might as well run with it.
Now, when it comes to my pick, I had to kind of go back and forth on this. Now, when we did our preseason picks, I had the Niners making it to the Super Bowl, but losing to the Ravens, who obviously we talked about did not get here. At this point, though, it's just so hard to go against Pat Mahomes because even when we did our conference title games, I picked the Ravens, but I said I hate going against Mahomes, and I wouldn't be shocked if they won, and that's exactly what they did. So I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. It's just Mahomes, man, and he doesn't have all the weapons, or they're not good enough on offense. I get that, but we used to say the same thing about Brady at one point because every year they were switching out wide receivers. It wasn't always the same group of guys that they were winning with, and most of the time it was no-name guys. And until they had Gronk, but most of the time it was no-name guys that nobody knew until they made the playoffs. And for some reason, they made the big plays when they needed them most. And I feel like that's what's going to happen for the Chiefs. But also, I am taking a small bet with my grandma because every year my grandma for the Super Bowl, the national title game, usually like World Series, she likes to bet me $20 every year. And I usually let her pick who she wants first. She's a huge Mahomes fan. I found out when we were back in Ohio for Christmas watching them play. So, of course, she went with the Chiefs. So I took the Niners only because I had to. But if I win my $20 back because I lost $20 to her for the national title game when she took Michigan, I guess it's a win for me at that point. I don't have to lose any money and I don't have to give her $40. But I still think the Chiefs are going to win this game ultimately. And if I had to do a score on it, let's see, we got to be over 47.5. So it's definitely going to be a
don't pick under because then we're screwed, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think it's going to be close though. This might not be a game-winning field goal, but it could come down to being a field goal difference. So I think I'm going to go Chiefs 34, Niners 31.
Okay, I'm taking it a step back. I'm saying Niners 31, Chiefs 27.
Okay, all right. Well, we both got a couple field goals in there at least involved.
Yeah. And the only thing that might be crazy for you is Jacob Moody is sometimes moody with his kicking. So we'll see how that kind of pans out. But you heard it here first. I'm taking Niners 31-27. Corey's taking Chiefs 34-31.
I just want to get our bet money back. That's all I really care about.
That's what I'm rooting for, bro. I'm rooting for that
parlay. Money, if we win the $400 each, I guess 40 of it go to my grandma. So I still win $360 in my own pocket. I'll take it.
That's not bad. I'll take it. Okay, that kind of wraps up our Super Bowl. We'll obviously be back on Monday after the Super Bowl to discuss all the happenings of it. I know I'll be watching intently. If you're not doing anything, man, and you're bored and you want to come over, bro, you're welcome to come over and watch it. Got the 65-inch and the surround sound, so it could be interesting. But we're going to move on from football. Today is more than just Kobe Day, and we will get to that. But February 8th this year is the NBA trade deadline. Everything needed to be done by noon Pacific, 3 Eastern this afternoon. And boy, did it. There's a lot of stuff that got done. We're gonna run down most of the trades. There's a couple here that were left out because some of our players that nobody really knows, and some was for cash or a random second round pick or to be announced later. So, just random ones. But we'll go through a couple of them and we'll stop to kind of discuss some of them.
Let's do it.
The first one here is the Pistons worked to acquire the Jazz forward Simone Fontecchio. They traded a second-round pick, probably the first pick of the second round because the Pistons are the worst, so it probably will be pick number 31. But again, that's who they got. The Pistons also trade guard Monty Morris to the T-Wolves for Shake Milton and forward Troy Brown, as well as a 2030 second-round pick. Is this the same Troy Brown that the Lakers had?
I believe so. I think he went
Dang.
from the Lakers to Minnesota. So yeah, I believe that is the same guy.
So Shake Milton, who is a name that I do know. Yeah, I know he was with the Sixers as well at one point. He is moving on to the Pistons. It's I don't know.
More playing time. Yes,
I guess, yeah.
They're not winning games, so you're just going to get out there and play. And Monty Williams is the second highest paid or third highest now, probably with Spoelstra getting his deal, coaching the NBA and coaching a team to the lottery.
That's right. Worst team in the league. Whoop whoop. All right, moving on because who cares? This one I thought was a kind of a sneaky pickup, and this one we'll get into a little bit more. Celtics acquire Xavier Tillman, big man from Memphis. All they really gave up was 2 future first-round picks, which is the Hawks 2027 pick and the Mavs 2030 second-round pick. But they get Lamar Stevens, who I have no idea who that is. So Memphis in that breakdown, obviously they have their core with Bane, JJ, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., and obviously John Morant. So they have their core there, but they're kind of basically ripping apart everything else. This is a sneaky pickup for the Celtics, is it not?
Oh, it's a huge pickup for the Celtics because it kind of reminds me of them replacing Daniel Tice that they had a couple years ago, because Tillman's kind of that same way. He's got a nice mid-range from the elbow, extended a little bit jumper, energy guy, plays solid defense within the team thing. He's not necessarily a plus defender individually, but within a scheme and the way the Celtics play, and having Kristaps Porzingis as well, and Al Horford, who I kind of actually, Tillman's kind of a nice younger version of Horford who can't shoot as far from the 3-point line. I kind of think that's a really good pickup for them. Unfortunately, we're Laker fans, so I don't want the Celtics to get better, but they kind of did do a nice thing there too. And if you're looking at it from Memphis' standpoint, we talked about when they traded Steven Adams a couple weeks ago, they're just trying to cut salary because now they're going the offseason. I think Bane's new contract kicks in, and with all the second aprons and everything coming into effect in the summer, I think they're just trying to cut some salary to get below that and have an opportunity to build on something with, like you mentioned, Triple J, John Morant coming back. I think Marcus Smart still has another year in his deal. So it'll be interesting to see what Memphis looks like next year, but this is definitely more of a salary dump for them, if anything else.
Yeah, and no matter what Laffy says, his team is damn good. This team is in the Celtics. It's his favorite team, even though he shits on them constantly. The first place in the damn East. I don't care what you say, bro. This is a sneaky good pickup. Again, it just gives you more depth. Yeah, well, whatever. Screw him. It just gives you more depth. Again, like you said, mentioned behind. Oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Horford. Thank you. Behind Al Horford, and this kind of allows, in my opinion, Kristaps to play that role that we try to put Anthony Davis in, the roamer, that come from across the thing, swat it. He's 7 foot and agile. I think this is a big pickup, especially when, if healthy, you're going to be having to play Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is going to smash Kristaps because he weighs about as much as Joel's leg. So that's going basically nowhere. Other people like, Giannis and stuff like that, you need these big bodies in there to kind of stop some of the bigs, and them shoring up their defense is only good. I don't care what you say, Loft. This is a good pickup.
It is a really good pickup. Loft, you can hate on your own team as much as you want. Makes no sense, but this is
so weird. Yeah, agreed. Moving on. This was one actually that was the very last trade of the day because I was paying attention until about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and this happened when I was kind of putting together the sheet tonight. Well, it didn't happen tonight, but you know what I'm saying. I didn't see it until then. The Suns, I kind of like this pickup a little bit. Suns acquire Royce O'Neal and David Roddy in a 3-team trade with Memphis and Brooklyn. That's obviously where Royce O'Neal and Roddy are coming from. Nets get Jordan Goodwin, Keita Bates-Diop, And they also get 3 second-round picks, 2 of them coming from Memphis and 1 of them coming from Phoenix. Memphis, however, gets Yuta Watanabe and Chimezi Metu. Both were role players. Yeah, I know that Watanabe's on a 1-year deal, so that's basically an expiring contract. And he's a 3-point shooter. So Memphis is getting him. Maybe they'll see if they can get him for cheap next year to just kind of add to somebody that John Morant could kick it out to besides Desmond Bain. But I think it's a good pickup for the Suns, to be honest.
Oh yeah, big time. Because they, like you said, Watanabe's a great 3-point shooter, but the Suns' problem is not offense on that side of the ball; it's the defense and shutting the other teams down. So Royce O'Neal, who's more of a 3-and-D guy, can shoot the 3 pretty decently, but again, it's more about defense and slowing down other forwards on the other side. So I think it's a great pickup. I know O'Neal was talked about as being a Laker target at one point. And so I get having somebody you want as a 3-and-D guy. And if the Suns are going to make a run in the playoffs, they're going to have to slow down the other teams at some point. And this is definitely a step in the right direction as far as that goes.
Yeah, agreed. He's got about a half a block a game in his career and almost a steal a game. But and this year he's shooting 36.6% from 3, but actually a career 38% 3-point shooter. And being with Book, Beal, and KD, he's going to have a lot of wide open shots. So that 36% could probably get back up to his career average of 38. So I think that's a pretty good.
That means Eric Gordon might not be happy because that means less shots for him. We already heard him complaining earlier in the season too.
Yeah, Eric Gordon's 48 years old, so who cares?
That's a good point.
And also plays no defense, so I'm with you on the acquisition of Royce O'Neal for that. Next, because we got a handful to get through. This one we both caught was kind of weird. We don't really know what the hell the Raptors are doing, but the Raptors spend some cash, get a Kelly Olynyk, who is, in my opinion, like a somewhat sought after big, but I mean, he's not like the guy we're like, holy shit, we got Olynyk, dude. Yes. Now we're rolling. So they get Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji. Jazz get Otto Porter Jr., Kira Lewis, and a 2024 first-round pick. This is where, first-round picks be starting to go for people like Olynyk, and no offense to Mr. Olynyk, you are an NBA player, so I mean no disrespect, but damn. Now, granted, they're giving up one of the least favorable of one of the ones that they have from the Clippers, the Thunder, Houston, or Utah. So they're giving up whatever one is the least favorable. So, technically it's still, I guess, decent. It could be, towards the end there. But what do you think of this, bro? It seems like the Raptors are rebuilding, but then not rebuilding.
Yeah, it's weird. They're in 12th place in the East. I think they're like 4 or 5 games out of the 10 spot to be in the play-in tournament, but they're so young with Gary Trent Jr. and Scotty Barnes, and they traded Pascal Siakam already. They have RJ Barrett now because they traded OG Anunoby to the Knicks. Like, it's just a very strange thing that I don't what's the guy's GM over there? I can't think of his name right now. Masai Ujiri. I don't quite know what he's doing over there, but from the Jazz perspective, at least, I mean, Danny Ainge is always doing something weird at the trade deadline. He's always making a move of some sort. Whether it makes sense now, it does to us doesn't matter. It'll make sense to him at some point, if not in the future. But yeah, I don't know. I guess
acquiring Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, and the Jazz getting Otto Porter Jr. is nice. He doesn't play a lot, but he did have that nice run when he was in Golden State a couple years ago when they won the title. Where if he's playing like 15 to 20 minutes a game and he's healthy, he's definitely a good serviceable guy and a good guy to have around. But I don't know what the Raptors are doing. They seem confusing just from my perspective, so I'm glad I'm not a Raptors fan.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, granted, you'd be happy when they won in 2019, I guess, but other than that, there's not much there besides Drake at the games. So
true, very true. Oh, we don't want to
this one though
either.
No, okay. This one though, I do think is kind of a sneaky pickup, and I'm also confused as to what the Pacers are doing here. Sixers trade, get Buddy Hield, 3-point sniper to kind of sit on the wing, and if and when hopefully Joel Embiid can come back as someone that he can kind of kick it out to when he's getting double teamed down low. In return, the Pacers get Marcus Morris Sr., Furkan Korkmaz, who is one of theirs in the Sixers' previous 3-point snipers, and 3 second-round picks. Maybe they did it for the second-round picks, but I feel like the Pacers are kind of in win-now mode, and Buddy Hield being arguably one of the best 3-point shooters in the league is weird to give away, I guess, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. But I also think if we've talked about this before, the Pacers are like, their offense is just through the roof. They score more than anybody in the league. At least the last time I checked, they still were in the top offense in the league. So maybe Buddy Hield's got to be on expiring contract is my guess as well. So maybe they don't want to have to pay him in the offseason, unload him now. And if the offense is not the issue on that side, then you might as well try to move on. Marcus Morris Sr., more of a stretch 4, kind of a muscle guy. Gives the Indiana more of a veteran that guy there because they don't have a whole lot of that. And as far as Korkmaz, apparently since he's been in Philly, he's asked for a trade multiple times and he finally got it. But then it sounds like the Pacers are going to buy him out, and then he's going to have an opportunity to choose what team he wants to sign with. Now, what teams he's available or not available to sign with based on the new apron rules, I haven't got into that, but it is kind of funny that he's been wanting a trade. He gets traded and then he's immediately cut and is a free agent. So now it's back to the drawing board for him.
Speaking, though, of that, Marcus Morris was then immediately moved to the Spurs. Spurs have traded a Marcus Morris and a 2029 second-round pick from the Clippers for Doug McDermott. Doug McDermott is on his way back to Indiana. Not necessarily a defensive guy, but not necessarily, bad either. He's a very fundamental player.
Yes.
Plus,
you're replacing Buddy Hield's 3-point shooting, I assume, by getting McDermott in a sense, and a much cheaper way to do it.
Close, not necessarily the same, but I'll give you that. To answer your question, yes, Hield is on an expiring contract. Holy crap, I take that back. Doug McDermott shoots 44% from behind the arc now on about 5 attempts a game. Yeah, true. But he's going to have, dude, if and when Tyrese Halliburton comes back, he's going to be, he already leads the league in assists. He'd be sitting there open. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And with TJ McConnell as your backup point guard, he knows how to run an offense and keep things moving as well. So he's definitely going to do well there. I think McDermott had been in Indiana.
You're right.
I agree. Well, McConnell also is a U of A Wildcat, so I'm a huge fan of him in general because he had a nice 2-year run, I think, in Arizona. And again, just an old school fashion point guard who plays really hard, does all the small things, kind of like Pat Bev, but not annoying and an a-hole about it. That's kind of how I look at TJ McConnell.
Definitely annoying a-hole. I see that with Pat Bev. My favorite Pat Bev moment is, especially on the Lakers at least, is when he grabs the camera and just shows the ref how wrong
the ref.
That was so funny.
Now, question real quick before you go on. If he would have done that before overtime started and he did that and got the technical, does Boston make the free throw and then the game is over, or does it still go into overtime regardless?
That's a great question for an NBA rules analyst. We'll be right back with, no, I'm just kidding. Great question. I don't know, to be honest with you. This next trade is one that I kind of have mixed feelings about. I think it's pretty good for what they had to give up. Oklahoma City strengthens their starting rotation by adding Gordon Hayward from the Hornets. Hornets in turn get Trey Mann. I'm going to mess this name up. Vasilij Micic and David Bertans. They also get some sort of draft compensation, which has yet to be named. In my opinion, I think this is good. Now, you mentioned Gordon Hayward's lack of availability, which I couldn't agree more with. But when healthy, I think he is an excellent player. And they basically gave up nothing. None of these names are names that you're like, damn, the Thunder gave up that guy. None of them are. And depending on what the compensation is in the draft, which I doubt it's going to be a first-round pick. And even if it was, they have like 30 of them anyways. I think this is a good trade. I think the one part that you added, and I agree with, is that this is a veteran guy coming to a very young team.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because initially I was like, Gordon Hayward, I feel like I haven't heard him play a game. And ever since he unfortunately got that injury as a Celtic against the Cavaliers, he's never really been the same. And then when he went to Charlotte, they're not good, so you don't hear about him a lot. Again, he's been very off and on the court this year. I think he's missed like almost the last 10 or 15 games. And they say he's getting close to coming back, but once you mentioned that they gave up nothing and it's OKC, I thought more about it. Like, yeah, they have a lot of young guys in OKC. They traded all their veterans away to kind of get all these draft picks and get this young core group together. So I think it would be nice to have a veteran guy there. I mean, he was on Utah in his early part of his career, and Utah at that time was really good, competitive in the West, if not in the second round a couple times. So a good veteran guy to have there, and hopefully something that OKC can use moving forward. Because again, if they're in the top 1 or 2 seed right now in the West, and if they hold on to that, they're going to need some experience when it comes to playoff time, because it's going to be difficult going against like whether it's Denver or the Clippers, depending on how the seeds all drop at the end of the year. So it makes a lot of sense when you think about it that way.
Yeah, I like the pickup. I think it's a sneaky one. Gordon Hayward's played in 25 games this year, averaging about 32 minutes a game, averaging 14 and a half points, shooting 36% from behind the arc. So not necessarily the best, but definitely above league average, and would be helpful. Somebody that Shea can kind of rely on, and like you said, learn from.
Yeah, now that Shea's running the show, if he's going to get double teamed and stuff, there will be some open shots on the wing. And if it's not going to go to Lou Dort or Jay Will or the other Jalen Williams, one of the two with the same name but spelled differently, then I guess Hayward will just sit in the corner and do his thing.
Jalen with the E and not the Y is the better of the Jalen Williams and is definitely one of the starters. It looks like Josh Giddey is probably going to be slotted to move to the bench, maybe off that 6-man role,
Ooh,
in order
okay.
to bring Gordon Hayward up to the forefront. So they have a
Ooh,
pretty good team.
okay. All right.
I'd still think that they are missing size. In order to
Yes.
get through the Cat Gobert combo, Anthony Davis, obviously Jokic, it's going to be a little bit more difficult if Chet is your biggest player who weighs I think he weighs 97 pounds. I think it is. So it's going to be pretty, it's going to be pretty tight. I think they need to kind of beef that up, but this was a pretty good move, and maybe they'll be active on the buyout market for somebody to kind of step
Also
in
a
that
very
role.
good point.
So anyways, I thought that was a pretty good one. Dallas was pretty. This one's weird to me, and we'll get into this a little bit later. But Dallas made a couple trades here. The first one we'll kind of touch on, and the second one we'll get into a little bit more. They get Daniel Gafford from Washington, and they trade out Rashawn Holmes, basically a big for a big. But when I looked at this more, dude, now granted, the Wizards suck, but
Yeah.
Daniel Gafford's almost averaging a double-double at 11 points and 8 boards, and he's actually
Oh,
pretty good. He's a lot better than Rashawn Holmes, so it's somewhat of an upgrade. And all they really had to give up was quote-unquote draft capital. They don't really know exactly what it is. I highly, highly doubt it's a first-round pick, so it's most likely
yeah.
some sort of combination of 1 or 2 second-round picks. So an upgrade at center, I think is nice. So that one's pretty good. But the biggest one that they had, and this one is the one I'm confused with, is they got PJ Washington from the Hornets. They got him for Grant Williams, who they just signed, Seth Curry, who is somewhat of a 3-point sniper, nowhere near as good as his brother, and a 2027 first round pick. What are you
Wow.
thinking here between the two Mavs trades?
Well, I feel weird about the Grant Williams part of it more than any. The Gafford one is, now that you say the numbers, makes a lot of sense, and the fact that he's getting a double double there when Jordan Poole doesn't pass the ball and is shooting it everywhere he wants and crazy, and Kyle
Well,
Kuzma's
he gets a lot of
averaging.
misses, right? So
Yeah,
he's getting
but
the rebound.
that's a good point. But also, you got Kuzma who's averaging like 20 points a game. So if he's getting a double double, he's doing something right, just doing his job. So that probably works really well with Dallas. And they have what's the rookie center they have? Likely, right? Is it Likely or
I'll look it up.
Lively Jr.? I can't remember the name, but he's been really
Derek
good.
Lively.
So
Yeah, Derek
Derek
Lively. You're
Lively,
right.
there you go. So that makes a lot of sense. And if it's a team, and the Mavericks need to play defense. So if they can keep the ball, get the more rebounds and keep the ball in possession, they don't have to play as much defense, which is not their strong suit. But that's why I think the Grant Williams part, giving up him, is a little weird, because the whole reason they brought him in was to have a more defensive minded and kind of a big bully guy on your side to protect Luka, and giving that up now. PJ Washington's not a terrible get. I don't necessarily know his numbers off the top of my head, so I guess maybe that's
Not
their
great.
thinking is, okay, maybe he is more defensive then and replacing Grant. But there was a lot of talk of Grant Williams possibly getting traded to Milwaukee for Bobby Porter Jr. at one point, which I thought would make more sense for Doc Rivers to have Grant Williams. So, but I feel bad for Seth Curry, man. Like, every time he gets on a team that's like decent, like when he was in Brooklyn that year, they were good, and then he just kind of gets thrown around somewhere else. But he does get to go back home to Charlotte, which is where his dad played when Dell Curry played as a player. So that's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, sure. That sounds fantastic. To kind of go with that defense that you're talking about, Daniel Gafford's averaging 2.2 blocks a game this year.
Okay, there you go. So they gave up Grant for
So
that, then that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. And he's a big body dude. He's 6'10", 234.
Okay.
So he can kind of bang down low. I think Grant Williams is a good player, but I think him being surrounded by all the talent in Boston kind of overhyped him a little bit. I watched a
Makes sense.
couple games of the Mavs this year, and he seems honestly just very average. I wouldn't say he's bad at all, but I wouldn't be like, damn, who's that guy right there? I think they should no. It just seems quite very average. So, but I'm with you, dude. I think getting PJ Washington, I mean, shooting 32.4% from three this year, not great. Now, granted, he's not going to be the one that needs to be scoring constantly. That's going to be Luka dropping 70 and Kyrie dropping 50, 60 when he feels like it. And Tim Hardaway Jr. loves dropping 40 every other game. So
True.
we'll kind of see how that pans out. But I just think the weirdest part to me is PJ Washington worth a first round pick? I don't know about that one, man.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess
I,
if you're the Mavericks, the pick's not going to be very high if you make the playoffs, so you maybe don't really care about the pick. And if, yeah, I don't know, that is a very strange thing that PJ Washington, because like with another trade we're going to talk about in a minute, there was no first round picks, which I thought for sure that was the whole price for this person. So it is kind of weird.
yeah, yeah. Well, and real quickly before we get into the next one, I'm going to touch a little bit more on the Dallas trade in a little bit when we get to another section here. But let's jump into the one that you just talked about. This one was probably one of the bigger names that people were looking to acquire, especially because the team that he plays on is well, the worst in the entire league.
Yeah.
The Knicks, bro. Knicks get Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. They give up Evan Fournier, Malachi Flynn, Quentin Grimes, and Ryan Arcidiacono, who recently set an NBA record for playing in 20 NBA games without scoring a single point. So that's
Oh,
fantastic. What a
nice.
get, right, by the Pistons, man. They don't know how
Where's
to win, and they get a guy who doesn't know how to score. It's just a win-win
what are
all
they
around.
doing over there?
Fit made in heaven. Now, along with that, they do get 2 second-round picks, which again, you thought the price, and I thought the price was first-round picks. The
Yeah.
Knicks are doing work right now. What do you think of this trade, man?
It's a great trade for the Knicks. When I woke up this morning and saw that broke, I was like, "Oh man!" Second round
Yep.
picks. I thought for sure there was talk of the Lakers trying to get him last year at the deadline and in the offseason, and the price was at least 1 first round, if not 2 first round picks.
Well, the Lakers' price is 1 or 2 first-round
That's
picks.
true. That's a Laker tax they always talk about. That's a good point. But
Exactly.
still, like it's so weird to me. But the other thing too is we're gonna mainly focus on Bojan, but the Alec Burke pickup is actually really good too.
Underrated.
He has played, I think, in New York before, and now that you have Brunson, who's not playing right now, and I mean, I think New York tonight only had 8 guys dressed because of the trade deadline and the injuries they're dealing with. But yeah, I think it's a great deal for the Knicks. They've done everything right because not only we'll get into our winners and losers later of the deadline, but not only this trade on today, but they've done other trades earlier than the deadline, and everything seems to be panning out, and they are on the right track right now to compete in the East for real.
Yeah. I think the only thing that they're doing, which they still have a ton of draft capital to go to, and I think that's something that they're going to address in the offseason, is they just need one more star to put next to Jalen Brunson. I feel like it's a
Donovan Mitchell.
star-driven league. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it could be. In my opinion, I think they should go for more of a forward than a guard, but I agree with you. Donovan Mitchell might be on the market. Alec Burks, to your point, is to me very underrated. It's averaging 12 points a game this year, almost 13, for a Detroit team that is trash. And
Yeah.
the star is Cade Cunningham, shooting
Exactly.
40% from 3 as well on almost 6 shots a game. So Jalen
Yeah.
Brunson's going to be getting double teamed. He's going to be open, and he can create, man. He can definitely create shots. He's a
So
Tom Thibodeau type player.
damn, him and Bojan are both 3-point like specialist guys. Dang, that is a good pickup
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah,
And you know
it's
what though?
very
There
good.
is one guy I feel bad for, but also happy for him is Malachi Flynn.
Quinn.
He's an SDSU guy. My coworker Tim went down there, so I saw Malachi Flynn play a few games down there when I used to go see him play at Viejas Arena. And man, that guy can ball, but he's a little smaller for the NBA probably size as far as a guard goes. But man, I just want him to get an opportunity to play. And I feel like now in Detroit, they're not winning anyway, so they're going to give him an opportunity. So maybe in the long run, he won't have to be stuck in there for his whole career or anything. But it's something for him to showcase and maybe get somewhere an opportunity that he can actually be a part of a winning organization.
I like that. I think that's a good idea. That's cool. Nice little tidbit. You were scouting him before he was even in the league. Nice.
He was
I like
good
it.
at SDSU. He was good.
Another Raptors move that we this one I kind of get more, but this is what makes the Kelly Olynyk acquisition a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
Raptors get Spencer Dinwiddie from the Nets, sending over Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young. I know Thaddeus Young was kind of sought after as far as another wing player, and Dennis Schroeder, I mean, experience as a Laker fan, he's a great guard. Tough, knows how to run an offense, and can play stellar defense as well. So I think it's a great pickup for the Nets and just getting rid of Spencer Dinwiddie, who we all kind of believe might be even bought out, right?
Yeah, it sounds like there's like some stipulation in Dinwiddie's contract that if he plays a certain amount of games, he gets a bonus. So I think Toronto's going to try to buy him out now before it gets to that point, and then he'll be able to kind of freely sign wherever he wants to go, which there's talk of, I think Lakers, Mavericks might have been one, and I can't remember the other 2 teams I saw. But he is a LA SoCal kid. He went to USC, if I remember correctly. So there's a lot of talk of him going to the Lakers. And then I think this afternoon, somebody, I don't know if it was the Lakers or somebody else, posted about him possibly going there if he gets bought out, and he had liked it on Twitter. So of course the world went crazy and think that's what's going to happen.
I'm kind of down, to be honest with you. I'm glad that we kind of stayed pat. We'll talk about that in a second as well. But I think that'd be a kind of a good piece, especially since we were looking for another guard and playmaker creator. But I can see Dallas too. They're the ones who had him last. So I
Very
mean
good point.
before he went to New York, that was in the Kyrie trade. So I can see that one for sure. This one is kind of a fun one.
I like this.
I was confused at first, but I can kind of see what they're trying to do. Bucks get Patrick Beverly from the 76ers, basically second and third place in the East, but they're just kind of trading back and forth. Sixers in return get Cameron Payne, who many know from the Suns run with Chris Paul. I kind of think Cameron Payne's pretty good. I think the Sixers are adding a lot of offense. and they're gonna maybe, I guess, try to outscore everybody by obviously adding Buddy Hield. They also get a 2027 second round pick. You said you like this.
I do, because
Don't
in a
get too
weird
into it though,
way,
you know.
yeah. It's weird that the Philly part of it, like you said, they're trying to probably outscore right now because they don't know how long Embiid's going to be out. So if they can score a bunch now and hopefully get more wins and stay afloat where they are in the standings, it'll work out for them. But I think the Pat Bev part of it, which was actually funny, he broke it himself on his podcast today that he got traded. So that was kind of cool.
That's funny. I
But
like
the
that.
fact that he's going to Milwaukee, where he's going to get to play next to Dame Lillard, who Dame, as we talked about multiple times in previous episodes, is not a defensive-minded guard. I think Pat Bev, it's his whole thing is defense and getting up in your grill and causing issues and being kind of that gnat that we've talked about before. So it'll fit perfectly there. And he's also played for Doc Rivers, who's now the head coach. So it'll be a little bit easier for them to kind of implement some of the defensive schemes and things they want to do, I think, for the overall team. So I think it's a win-win, but it is kind of strange that division opponents who are so close in the standings are making deals with each other at this time of year.
Yeah, exactly. So those are basically the most trades that have kind of gone down here. There's a couple other ones, players like in the nicest way, nameless players for random second round picks or cash considerations, or just players who are end up trading that are going to be waived. So these are the main ones that kind of broke. We're going to kind of break into our winners and our losers, though, of the trade deadline. Let me kick it off here because I just think this one was so good. The New York Knicks, bro, adding Bohan and Alec Burks without giving away another key piece of their rotation. Emmanuel quickly is arguably a key piece, but getting Alec Burks back and then adding Bohan on top of that and giving basically no draft capital is just impressive, dude. It's very impressive. The Knicks team is already ready for the summer. As far as acquisitions, I mean, they're ready for this playoff run as well. I'm not putting them out of that, but they have a ton of draft picks. I actually looked it up in order to try to find another star, like I mentioned, to put alongside Jalen Brunson. In the 2024 draft, they have 4 first-round picks. Some of them are protected by lottery from other teams. 4 this year, 2 in 2025, and they have every single one of their own picks from 2026 all the way to 2030. They can hand away a lot of draft picks for those star players because, I mean, let's be honest, besides making the money match, what teams want when they're giving up a star is a ton of first round picks because they're going to try to obviously rebuild. Losing that star, it means a lot, and they need to try to rebuild, similar to what the Clippers did with giving away everything to get Paul George. So if you want to try to add a star, you're going to need a ton of first round picks, and I think the Knicks making good big moves at the line and giving up none of that capital was a huge win. Huge win.
Couldn't agree more.
Who's one of your winners?
Yeah, I'm with you. The Knicks are the winners. And like I said, not just for today, the other trades they've done before with the OG Anunoby deal a couple weeks ago with Toronto.
Yes.
And they went on a huge tear and had great defensive numbers with him. Now he's out right now. Brunson's out right now. But you talked about it, Bojan, man, when Brunson comes back in the fourth quarter, you know, he tends to take over the ball and kind of run everything through himself. And if they're going to start doubling or you know, working
Like
defensive schemes around him, Bojan's going to be open and Burks is going to be open, and they still have DiVincenzo, who's a great three-point shooter. Josh Hart is a great three-point shooter. They just Julius Randle when he gets back and healthy. I mean, they are stacked, and it's weird that the Knicks have somebody who's running the basketball side of the business and actually knows what they're doing, because every time they hire a new GM, I don't know what the hell they're doing or what their plan is, but these guys seem to know exactly what they're doing, and Thibodeau has them playing at a great style of basketball, especially on the defensive side when Anunoby's in there. I think it's a win-win. They honestly are the winners of all the teams that could have won at the deadline.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people talk about, you know, Tom Thibodeau running his players into the ground. Well, he's got a plethora of depth with this squad, so he doesn't necessarily have to run everybody 48 minutes a night. He can nicely spread it out. So yeah, I think a huge winner is the Knicks.
Not only they finally got rid of Evan Fournier, who they've been paying crazy amount of money to do legitimately nothing and not play very well. So getting him off the books is a huge win for them as well.
The freaking French, you know what I mean? What do you say? No offense. All right. The other winner that I have in this one is actually the 76ers. I think that getting a big name like Buddy Hield, although he is on an expiring contract, I think that kind of bodes well as well, because I know they're going to have to be paying Tyrese Maxey sometime soon. So adding Hield early for players that are basically kind of below average in my sense is a steal. They later trade away Pat Bev for Campaign and also get a second round pick, which isn't bad. I think Campaign is a little underrated. He was he was a good player for the Suns. I hope it wasn't just for the Suns. Not that I'm rooting for the Sixers per se, but I think that was kind of a nice giveaway. Pat Bev is not necessarily not needed because they do need some defense, but he can't score to save his life.
No.
So being that the Bucks obviously have the, I think, third or fourth best offense in the league, that's the one piece they needed. Whereas the Sixers are a little bit more well-rounded, and adding campaign and acquiring second round pick was pretty big. So they're my second winners. Who do you have?
Yeah, well, before I go on my second one, I did think I read or heard Brian Windhorst talk about now that the moves the Sixers have made when they go into the offseason, since Embiid's already signed and they need to just re-sign Maxey to a big deal. They ultimately still, because what you can do is sign other guys first and then re-sign Maxey to go over the cap. They kind of have like $50 million in cap space to work with. So maybe if Buddy Hield works out, they can bring him back and continue to add from there. So just a little side note that I did hear about them talk today. But my other winner, in a weird way, like we talked about, is the Bucks. I think getting Dame a guard on the side that can play more defense, because like you talked about, their offense is not the issue. The defense has been the problem all season, and with Doc there, he's more of a defensive guy. You bring in Pat Bev, they can kind of focus on that side of the ball a little bit. They did get rid of Robin Lopez in a trade to the Kings, which was not really for anything. I don't think they got anything back except maybe a draft pick. But I think they're just trying to get cash. They're just trying to get better on that side of the ball, and if they can focus, although they are 1-4 under Doc so far, but we'll see if that changes now that you have somebody that knows the system that he wants to run defensively. And again, Pat Bev is one of those guys that is going to get under the skin of the other team, and that's usually a big thing that happens in the playoffs where you can kind of get in somebody's head. Cameron Payne's kind of similar to that too, so maybe Philly didn't lose that completely, but they got a little bit better on the offensive side of the ball with Cameron Payne compared to Pat Bev.
Yeah, I don't think that it was a bad trade for the Bucks. I just I think it might have, honestly kind of think it might be a win-win. I just give the Sixers the edge because they got a pick out of it, kind of thing. Yeah, I mean,
true. The other thing too is interesting is they already talked about or got quoted is Lillard and Pat Bev have had some kind of like little spats before over the years and haven't really been.
Oh, he played in the West for a long time.
Yeah, so they already said, they're happy to be, they're professional, they're ready to go and play with each other. And now I think it's one of those things, again, when you're not on the guy's team, he just bugs the shit out of you and you hate him. But once he's on your side and in your jersey color, you're like, I don't hate him so much. He's helping me and helping us, so it's all good. Corey Perry's very similar to that in the NHL. A lot of people used to hate him when he was a Duck, and I used to love the guy. And then once he left one of the teams, I'm like, I can see why people kind of hate him and don't like him and think he's a pest. I understand his game and the way he goes about it, but it sometimes helps the team, so it's all good.
Pat Bev must do that to everybody because that was the talk when he was brought into the Lakers with Russell Westbrook, right?
Yep, exactly.
All right, so those are the winners that we've got. Both got the Knicks because we just think they did a phenomenal job. And I added the Sixers, and Corey thinks the Bucks. So a couple winners. We're going to move into a losers. There's not really too many losers because it was kind of an underwhelming trade deadline. There were some decent moves, but nothing too crazy. I'll start off real quick. I think the biggest one was Dallas. I know we touched on it a little bit with that PJ Washington thing, but giving away a starter in Grant Williams and a decent three-point shooter with Seth Curry, and a first-round pick, all for PJ Washington, who's averaging 13.6 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists on 32.4% from three. And I don't mean to only include his three-point percentage, but that's like arguably one of the most like necessary things in today's NBA is the three. He has a career negative 1.3 plus minus and is sitting at a -3 this season in his overall rating. So I don't necessarily think he's a stopper on the defensive end either. Again, I don't watch many Hornets games. One, because they're not on television, and two, because who cares?
Yes.
But I just think this one's weird. I think the topper is the first round pick. I don't see too big of a problem giving away Grant Williams and Seth Curry, but the first round pick on top of all of that for somebody who's getting 13 points and 5 boards. Now, if he was getting 13, 15 points and 10, 11 rebounds and maybe shooting 35% from three and had a decent plus minus box score, maybe. But I don't know. This first round pick is just kind of over the top for me.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from that, and the more I think about it with the PJ Washington part, though. You talked about it. PJ Washington played in Charlotte. Charlotte's not good, like you talked about. Steve Clifford, their own coach, has even been quoted, I think, in the last week or two, talking about
we have no talent.
I was brought here to get them to play defense, and nobody wants to play defense. So maybe it's not necessarily PJ's fault that he's at a -3 plus minus for the year. It's more of a team situation because they give up a lot of points, and it's not necessarily all his fault. And if you're playing with Luka, you're not going to have to do as much offensively. There's not as much pressure. And if you can just, 30% from 3-point line, if you're going to be playing with Luka and Kyrie handling the ball, you probably get more open looks than you would anywhere else. So maybe his numbers kind of get skewed a little bit there in Charlotte, but I'm with you. I think giving up the first round pick is the big question mark on that.
Yeah, that's where I kind of stand. That's my one loser from tonight or today, I guess. Who you got?
Well, in a weird way, even though they're not good and not really expected to do anything, I think the losers are the Wizards. Like they gave up the guy you talked about. I can't remember his name now. What was the guy they gave up to Dallas? Daniel Gafford, right? Was that his name?
Daniel Gafford. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they gave up him, which was fine because again, they're not winning anything. But I think the other thing is you don't give up Kyle Kuzma, who is averaging about 20 points a game and has won a title before. He knows how to be a team player when he's in an organization or a team that actually has like a team situation. Because in Washington, it's basically him and Jordan Poole letting them shoot as much as they want. We mentioned Jordan Poole earlier. He's terrible this year.
Terrible.
We looked it up yesterday. I think the last 3 games he's played in, he was like one of them. It was 2 of 14 from 3 and like 4 of 20 from the field overall. He's just not the same player. And I feel like if you can at least move Kuzma and get maybe a first round pick, if not a second round pick for him, I just don't know what Washington's doing, and I feel bad for them because they're just going to continue to lose. Maybe that's what they want to do is get a lottery pick, but why not get up Kuzma now and maybe get something a little more to have to stockpile as far as draft compensation? But I don't know what they're doing over there. They just suck. That's all I can tell you.
Not wrong. Not wrong. I do have one more loser. It's not necessarily a team. To me, it's NBA fans wanting a crazy day. It wasn't that crazy. Lots of trades, some decent-sized names, but nothing really earth-shattering. Not really earth-shattering. So my other loser is NBA fans wanting a crazy trade deadline day because that's what I was looking for. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more to wake up this morning and just like boom, 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 but it was just the Bojan thing. And then it took like another couple hours for things to really pick up. And then about 10 to 11 our time here on the Pacific time zone, it really picked up. And then that last 30 minutes or so was kind of blah. I felt like
Kind of
Woj
dead.
wasn't doing much on the NBA today.
One of those teams that we obviously watch and root for were the Lakers. Made 0 moves, which was, are they going to do something? Who are they going to get? How big are they going to go? Do they want to trade that 2029 pick? Are you happy the Lakers stayed pat?
I kind of am, actually. I feel like there was nothing out there that was earth shattering, like, oh, they got to do this, they must do this kind of thing. So I get staying pat. And also, if you think about it, like Vanderbilt's out right now. If they think the injury is not as bad as it could have been, and he can come back in March, and then hopefully Gabe Vincent at some point does get able to play some games. And now there's the talk of Spencer Dinwiddie getting bought out and maybe coming down here. So maybe you kind of get 2, because Gabe Vincent hasn't played in only, I think, 5 games this year. Between him and Dinwiddie coming in as a buyout, you kind of get 2 people in the trade market without having to really give anything up in the first place. And it's also kind of the Knicks, where it gives them their multiple first round picks in the summer to then go out and go big game hunting if they really want to go after a star to bring in. Because again, LeBron's got 1 more year left on his deal, so he'll be here next year. I can't see him opting out of like 40 million or
51
whatever
million.
it is. At his age, there's no way you're going to get that anywhere else. So I would assume that gives them something to build on next year and take even more pressure off LeBron, especially if you can get a ball handler. Donovan Mitchell's the name that keeps coming up. Trae Young, which I'd rather have Donovan Mitchell, but that's a summer thing to worry about, not right here in the moment. So yeah, I'm with you there. I think not doing anything kind of works out in the long run. D'Lo's been playing out of this world the last month, because you figured when it first started, he was playing where you're like, oh, okay, he'll probably be hot for like 3 or 4 games and cool off, but he's only had like 1 or 2 bad games in a month. So obviously he's finally found something. There's a real connection between him and AD. I know he was on AD was on D'Lo's podcast recently the other day, and AD has talked about multiple times that he has a connection with him, kind of like he had with Rondo when Rondo was in LA, where he just gets the pick and roll and knows where AD is going to be and where to feed him in the right spots. And the way he's hitting the 3 right now, it kind of makes sense to just keep him.
Yeah, I think the team is doing well. I don't think we need subtraction. I think we only need slight additions. Now, granted, we have to have roster room for all these players, but I like the team that they have built here. And I do think that the buyout market is the way to go. Whether it's a name like Spencer Dinwiddie, or if we somehow convince Kyle Lowry that he doesn't want to go play for his previous coach and for his home city in Philly, I think it'd be interesting to see. The only other thing that I would like to acquire is a big, because Jackson Hayes, while he has a big body, is not somebody that's going to be able to handle Jokic. And I just think we need more for AD, and just because we can't have him be the only one out there. So there's 2 minutes left in the game right now. Lakers are tied 104 to 104. Yep.
It's actually 107,
Sorry.
104. Murray just hit a 3. Dang it. We're so close. But it's about
It's okay.
just under 2 minutes to go.
Defending champs that we're keeping close on Kobe night, so I'm hoping they can kind of pull this one out. That'd be sweet. But again, it's just Jokic just is so much to handle. So I could see them trying to find a big to just like get fouls, get
Yeah.
in his way, not necessarily do anything on the offensive end, just rebounds and get in his way, and then maybe like another guard to create like a Dinwiddie or a Lowry. So I think that's the way to go. Giving up something like you said for a pretty underwhelming free agency. Now, granted, DeJounte Murray is great, but the fact that we have to give up this person and a first round pick to get basically what D'Lo is, and like I talked about before, I don't know what DeJounte is going to feel or do or be like in the spotlight of LA playing with LeBron James. We know
Very
that
true.
D'Lo can kind of handle it. Now, granted, he goes cold sometimes, but that's every NBA player besides some of the top stars. And we know that he can kind of handle it for the most part. So I'm with you. I'm kind of happy that they stayed pat, and yeah, just super happy that we didn't have to give up too much, to be honest. So.
We'll see what happens moving forward.
It's now 109. Ugh, damn it. Why
Yeah,
did we look? I shouldn't have looked. I'm not looking anymore. I'm
Turn
closing
it off. Turn it off. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. We do want to talk about Kobe though, even though they are playing right now. The main event was earlier this afternoon. I got to watch the entire I would say episode. That's not what it was. Ceremony. Thank you. I got to watch the entire ceremony. And it was moving, dude. They planned to the crowd. Every damn Laker I've ever seen play was there, which is understandable, bro, because Kobe is huge, right?
Yeah.
Anyone from Sasha Vujacic to Ron Artest to Lamar Odom to current players. I saw Rui and DR in the front along with Darvin Ham. And then obviously they had the people up on stage, which was Phil Jackson, Steve. No, not Steve. Why did I say Steve? Derek Fisher. They had Kareem, they had Vanessa and Jeannie Buss. Each of them kind of gave a speech. Stu Lance was the kind of MC of the evening. It was fantastic. I definitely got close to tears listening to Phil talk about it and listening to Vanessa. Obviously, it's just it was a really really good ceremony, and I loved her breakdown of the current statue that we're able to see. Did you see any of it or some highlights?
I haven't been able to watch it yet. I was at work when it was happening. I kept looking at my phone like, come on, where's the picture of the statue? What does it look like? Because I kept waiting for them to finish the ceremony because I was like, oh, it starts at 3:30. Cool, it's 4 o'clock. All right, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? God, it's not on there yet. But by about 4:30, I finally saw it.
Yeah,
My
it's
dad
about an hour long ceremony. So
yeah, yeah, it makes sense. And then my dad texted me like, well, I guess not the statue pose we all kind of and anticipated coming, which totally agree. Not what I was picturing in my mind initially, but then they go on to say that this is one of 3. There'll be another one with number 24, and then another one that has to do with him and Gianna. So super excited about it because I wasn't sure how they would kind of mesh all that into one. So I'm glad it's going to be kind of separated in its own thing. But I will I will go and watch the ceremony on the internet later. Obviously, you talked about Phil Jackson. I heard he told a really good story, so I'm really interested to hear that. My dad
a couple, but
yeah, my dad mentioned that Vanessa said that if you don't like the pose, like tough shit, and they didn't catch it on live air with the dump button, so that was everywhere to see and hear, which I think is great because I love seeing the real emotion when it comes to those things. The one thing I did think about today, though, John Ireland on ESPN LA, who is their play-by-play guy for the radio, talked about how, when he first passed away in that tragic event 4 years ago, that he thought they'd put a statue up in like 6 to 8 months and kind of hurry it, but it would probably be too much too soon just because we were still kind of in mourning. The fact that we've had 4 years to kind of deal with it and kind of get over it, not get over it because we're never going to get over it, but work through it in a sense. It was more of a celebration than a somber mood because it had just recently happened. And from what I gather and what I've read, unfortunately, I haven't watched it myself yet, but everything I've seen and read has said they did a great job, and the Lakers, like typical fashion, do everything right when it comes to these big moments.
Dude, it was fantastic. I definitely loved it. Some of the things, and we'll put a picture of it up on the screen for you guys so you can see the trophy itself. It's basically him as he's walking off the court from his 81-point game, and she as a Vanessa worked really closely with the sculptist or whatever they call that guy who makes the statues. Yeah, sculptor, whatever. They worked really closely with him to add a handful of details that she wanted. On his on his hand that he's putting up in the air when he's walking off. He obviously still has the thing on his finger wrapped because he was playing with a freaking hurt finger like he always did.
Mhm.
And he has tattoos right here of all of his daughter's names, even the ones that weren't born yet when he technically made the
Oh, that's
81. But
awesome.
obviously, you're not going to not put them on there.
Yeah.
He has the base itself is a triangle because he loved Tex Winter and Phil Jackson's
great.
triangle offense. So that was pretty cool. He's also surrounded by all 5 Larry O'Brien trophies. Sorry, I'm still in Super Bowl mode this
It's all
weekend.
good.
He's surrounded by 5 Larry O'Brien trophies for the 5 championships that he won. And then he has Kobe Bean Bryant, Black Mamba on the front of the statue, along with the quote that she ended the ceremony with. Damn, what did she say? Now I want to look it up for you real quick. But
Something about
it was
leaving him as a legend at the end, I think.
yeah, it was awesome. So
Say we
it was
gotta-
great. Huh?
I said you got to find it. We got to get it on here. I know it's something
Yeah.
about do everything as much as you can or put it all into it, and at the end make sure you leave the game a legend or something to that effect. I'm sure you're going to find it there in a second.
Yeah. I'll try to find it real quick.
Oh, they ended up losing, by the way, just a heads up. 114-106 was the final. But hey, it's a close game.
Oh, how much did they lose by?
Oh my gosh, 8 points.
That's what I was hoping we were going to win by, but
yeah. But you know what? It's been a long emotional day for the Lakers, obviously going through the ceremony, and they're all wearing the Black Mamba jerseys that he helped design back in 2017 with the snakeskin and the number 2 heart patch on the front for Gianna. They're all wearing like Kobe designed warm-up shirts. So every fan in the stadium, I believe, got a Black Mamba jersey as a walk-in like freebie. So I'm sure it was an emotional night for the fact that they were able to get through it. And again, they were in the game until the end. It's not like they got their ass kicked or anything like that. So I'm okay with the loss. Again, it's Denver, man. They're defending champs. They're really good.
They are very good, and it's really annoying me because I cannot find the. Oh, here it is. Okay, finally, this is what it says on the front of it as well. It says, "Leave the game better than you found it, and when it comes time for you to leave a legend." That's what it says right on the front. So
that's what it was.
Yeah, it was really good. I got a little emotional. So
yeah,
it was such a good ceremony. So props to the Lakers, props to all the people who were there, and still feeling super bad for Vanessa, dude. I mean, losing not only her husband but her daughter on the same exact day, and then having to continuously raise the rest of the family just by herself. Obviously, in the nicest way, money is not a problem for them, but it's more than just about that. So
yes, absolutely,
it's not like she has to worry about any of that, but it's just a lot that goes into probably raising kids. I don't know myself, but
same.
Just to definitely give our hearts out to Vanessa and the Bryant family. So
yeah, and you mentioned how you were watching on TV and everybody they're panning the camera. I know I saw Mark Madsen was going to be there, so like he played 20 years on the same team or organization. There's a bunch of different players there. I'm sure they all had their own stories to tell, but we want to play a clip here. It's about 12 minutes long. I know it's a little lengthy. But it's just there's a lot of good stories that former players and teammates, including Shaq at the end, which is the best one, I think, will tell you about Kobe. And we're going to play that for you now. Again, it's about 12 minutes long, so hang in there. But if you're on YouTube, you'll get to see all the video that goes along with it. It is a great little sketch of things that we kind of put together from other podcasts and other things that they've done. So here's a little clip for you.
He was a guy that wanted it right away. And we all understand pecking order. Mm-hmm. My team. That ain't about to happen. Right. But I saw that he had something in him. And he wanted it right away. A lot of guys don't have that when they come in. A lot of guys just like to go through the rope, but he wanted it. So his rookie year, we let him do what he do, make his mistakes. But the defining moment in his greatness was we were playing Utah. Nobody wanted to take the last shots. I'm not taking the last shot, shooting 40% from the free throw line. Y'all ain't gonna be talking about me. Mm-hmm. Shaq lost the game. So he takes 3 shots to air balls. If you can remember, and I hope you can show this clip, I was the one that grabbed him and said, hey, man, don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. One day people are going to fear you. And the next year he come in, we come in a little more. He wanted it. And this is where I wish I was a little bit more tactful. Egos get in the way. Mm-hmm. That word, my team, mess you up. Yeah. Right? Especially from a big guy giving up to a little guy. I don't play that shit. Mm-hmm. So but fortunately it still worked out. We still won 3 out of 4, but a lot of necessary stuff that shouldn't have happened because of the ego. And it was probably my fault. But one thing I never do is I never disrespect nobody.
Right.
I ain't gotta like you. I ain't gotta do what you do. But if you open in the corner, Matt, even if we had a fight the other day, I know you're gonna knock that down for me.
Yeah.
I'm kicking it. So, you know, even though we didn't hang out or do anything of that, I'm always looking for him first. And he's always looking for me. When he go into the hole, he get double teamed, he dropping it off. So I think that'll help us.
He was killing from the start of the practice. I don't know why we got him. Why is he here? He had one good year talking crazy. But during the practice, I'm up here like, Jeremy Lin, come on, man. We can't go out like this. We ain't going out like this. Good. Not today. Today ain't that day, baby.
At that time, he was coming back from injuries, and then he was also going through some injuries, but he was like 35-year-old Kobe with a 25-year-old Kobe mind. And so, like, he had it in him that he wanted to prove to the world, like, all the reporters who say he couldn't come back from his Achilles or other injuries, like, he had this, like, intense level of, like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
And I would sit there sometimes and say, guys, you're not going to say nothing back? That would be me. I'm sitting there like, no, I don't care how good. You're not going to talk to me.
Right.
If I was out there on the court that way.
But Jeremy Lin was getting killed. He was getting ripped and shit by Ronnie Price. Ronnie Price. Ronnie Price. He played defense, full court.
Ronnie Price has, been the one guy that I, can look at and say, wow, this guy's really gotten my attention.
I've always liked Ronnie Price's defensive tenacity. I always liked the way he played. I mean, he always played really hard.
Defensively, he's a little bit of a pit bull. He just gets after people, and you got to love that about him.
Ronnie, he played defense, full court, picking them up. I'm getting mad, like, Jeremy Lin, come on, man. That's when I was like, all right, Cole, you talking too much. You can't guard me. Guard me.
Yeah, I mean, and he just going back and forth, and I hear Nick, you can't guard me. Like, you can't guard me. All that, right?
He was guarding Jeremy Lin, guard me. Yeah, guard me.
Hey, that part.
Yeah, guard me. And then we start going back and forth.
So I just hear the back and forth, right?
First day I ever seen Nick stick up for himself was that day.
When they got caught on camera, the one he said nobody in the world could guard me?
Oh yeah, nobody can guard me. I was like,
I said nobody in the world could guard me because
That's
Gil
where
was
it
teaching
comes
me.
from.
Yeah, Gil was teaching me, the conference, you gotta go at him. So I was going at him. And then Kobe said a line like, lucky I'm not from this world, something like that.
What that mean?
Because I said nobody in the world could guard me.
You said
lucky I'm not from this world.
Damn, hey, he good, bro. He too quick.
So we going back and forth. It was fun.
And then all I remember is I'm like, man, what's going on? Like, my first year in the NBA was a shock, bro.
Yeah.
I'm seeing everything, right? So I'm like, man, what's going on? So I'm in the training room. I'm getting my rehab and stuff. And all I hear is, soft as Sherman, y'all motherfuckers trash.
Yeah.
Like, just going crazy.
Kobe, y'all soft like Sherman.
Kobe got a deep ass voice, so you hear it. And all I hear is what Mitch was like, or Mitch Kupchak was our GM at the time, and Cole leaving the court. And he like, Mitch, I'm supposed to get better with this shit? I'm supposed to get better with this shit?
The gym was full of, young players and some veterans yesterday morning. And when he showed up, the whole tenor of the gym changed a little bit. It's like, look who's here.
And then he walk in the locker room. He like, Jew, what the fuck is this, Jew? What the fuck? He's like, I'm supposed to practice?
Oh, I can't even get better practicing with y'all.
He's like, these motherfuckers making me worse. And he just walked out, bro.
We're Western Conference Finals, Game 6. We're triple teaming Kobe, right? Like, I'm looking at Lamar Odom, and the coach is like, go. Jason Richardson, Jared Dudley, Grant Hill, we're running at Kobe.
In his bag.
And so here's the thing, man. So he's doing this thing. He always look with Kobe, like with LeBron. Like when I guarded LeBron back then, my attitude was, I'm not gonna crash the offensive glass. When we shoot, I'm gonna find him. I'm not gonna let him get out in the open court with full head of steam. So like he had a game plan, and I actually did okay. I mean, LeBron would have moments, but like I didn't have a strategy for Kobe. Like I didn't know what to do. And so sometimes, man, like I would just. He'd go up and shot. I would just hit his arm, and just like, And the problem, too, was I couldn't go back at him. Because at my role, in Phoenix, Nash had the ball in his hand, so I'm stuck in the corner. And I'm not, I'm not a spot-up shooter. So he was hard to defend. But in that moment, man, a couple times I guessed right. Like, I'm like he's going to go right. He's going to shot fake. I'm not, I know what he's going to do. And I'm like, and then, you know how hard it is.
You're saying this, when you squared off against him, you're saying that in your head as you're defending him?
I knew he wanted to go right, and I knew he had a great ball fake, and I've seen him do it before. And last play of the game, I think we're down maybe 2 points, about 30 seconds. Well, last minute of the game, and I'm guarding Kobe, and I guessed right. I mean, he went right, I guessed right. He pump faked, I didn't go for it. I jumped with him as he went up to shoot it. Everything was perfect defensively, and he still hits a three-pointer in my face, and then he taps Alvin Gentry on the butt as he's running down the court the other end. So that was something that, you just, man.
He shoots a fadeaway from God knows where. Swish.
Shot clock now to 5. Bryant, yes. And that was a little tough to Alvin Gentry.
Add insult to injury, Kobe. I mean, what a shot. I mean, you can't defend that.
Slaps Alvin Gentry on the butt. I don't know what he said. Something to the effect of, good try.
You know how hard it is to do a shot fake, reload from 3?
And somebody in your grill.
And I couldn't be any closer to him without fouling him. Man, this dude hits me. I was like, I mean, I was actually proud of the defense I played.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I couldn't have done anything other than just prevent him from getting the ball, but
Shaq fouled out, so everybody kind of panicked. So they thought okay, Shaq fouled out. We got to move the ball. We got to get everybody involved. We got to play a different style of basketball. And so I think Kobe had missed 3 shots in a row. He took a couple bad shots, whatever, and he missed 3 shots in a row. So guys man, you got to move the ball. And then Phil was on him a little bit in the timeout. And then he came out. I think he might have scored 12 straight or something. And then he hit that big shot, and he was like,
I got this shit.
Relax. I got this. And after that series, then that's when
you see the change.
It was over. Yeah, it was over. Man, relax. I got it. And so, the reporter asked Kobe, he's like, your teammates say you don't trust him. You don't do. He said, how you feel about that? He said, well, I feel like I got a better chance of making a shot over 2 people than the guy that's wide open. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So you got.
But dead ass serious though.
Dead serious,
bro.
So I love him.
Right?
Listen,
I'm with
I
that.
love him.
When I played with him, he got upset and he said, from now on out, I touch the ball every time down the court. Y'all gonna learn what it's like to play with Kobe Bean Bryant.
Is it true he came in the locker room and everybody that was wearing his shoes, he took them back?
Clean that shit out. Clean that out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this was the same rant. We got blew out in Portland. He went down the line one at a time and told everybody what was wrong with him. He went down the line. He skipped me, Meta World Peace, and Brandon Bass. Everybody else got it. And we came in the next day for practice. I don't know if Carlos was the equipment manager for y'all. I don't know how long he was there. Carlos come in, cool as ever. And he just started racking Kobe's out of my locker. So me and Nick Young sitting there like, what you doing? Kobe said he don't want y'all wearing his shoes. Y'all soft.
In the finals, Indiana, I was killing. got into foul trouble. And it was one of those games that if we lose, Indiana may get the momentum. They can win the championship. But Kobe, during the timeout, he's like, big dog, I got you. Just sit back and enjoy the show. It was the most impressive 5, 6, 7 minutes I've ever seen. That's when I got to the press conference and said, this guy is, the best player in the world. I've only seen one other guy say what he was going to do and go out and do it, and that was Michael Jordan. So, at that point, look, I already had respect for him, but when he did that during the finals, I was like, he's ready. The day Kobe gained my respect was the guys were complaining. Said, Shaq, Kobe's not passing the ball. I said, I'll talk to him. I said, Kobe, there's no I in team. And Kobe said, I know, but there's an in me in that motherfucker. So I went back.
This is a really nice video, man. Thank you for putting that together.
Yeah, for sure.
It's nice to hear all the stories and stuff. It sucks that we're not here to share them with him. It'd be great if he was at his unveiling of his own statue, but
yes. My favorite one,
can't
though,
help fate.
Again, the ending one was Shaq at the funeral ceremony they did when he did pass away at Staples, and he says, there's teams that guy not passing the ball. He's like, I'll talk to him, and then he says, there's no INT. He says, but there's an ME in that motherfucker. That is the greatest line, and like the perfect person, Shaq, to say that at a ceremony that obviously very somber and mood overall, but to give it a light little moment. Was the perfect way to end that ceremony back in, that was what, January of 2020, I think, when we did that.
Yep. It was January 26th he passed. I don't remember when the ceremony
it might have been
was,
February by the time they had the ceremony. But again, it
was only 5 days later.
Great clip of everybody just kind of telling different stories and things that, again, Mamba mentality.
Yeah, rest in peace, Kobe. You're very, very missed.
Yeah, for real.
All right. Moving on out of basketball. We've talked a lot about basketball, especially since the trade deadline. And even though the Lakers lost, it was still a nice Kobe day. I wonder if 2-8 is going to be something that the Lakers try to do maybe going forward. You know what I mean? Obviously, 2-8-24 is not going to happen anymore, but maybe February 8th, if and when they have games again going forward, they try to rock those Black Mamba jerseys. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. And also maybe that's when they unveil the next 2 statues. Not necessarily the next 2 years back to back or whatever, but maybe they try to do it on 2-8 as well and just kind of keep with that theme.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm down. Let's move on, though. There's a couple things that have happened in this MLB offseason. I think you said the pitchers and catchers report next week, right?
Next Thursday already, dude. Pitchers and catchers.
A week from today.
Woo! It's gonna be here.
Baseball's getting rolling. So a couple things that have happened here. Nothing too big. We're gonna skip over the first one because they freaking cheat. Jose Altuve signs a 5-year, $125 million extension with the Astros. All I can say is trash can. Any notes, Corey?
Does that come with like another buzzer included in the contract, or how's that work? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, make sure you don't rip the shirt off, okay? Perfect.
Is that a stipulation in the contract?
Yeah, it must be. Honestly, dude, I was telling my friend at work this. She's a huge Dodger fan. I was telling him yesterday, as much as I'm very, very happy that they beat the Dodgers, it is kind of a sucky way to beat them. You know what I mean? I'm glad the Dodgers didn't get a chip, but damn, they have to freaking have it. It's just like, again, they kind of solidified their goodness or how good they are by winning another one without the scandal, because obviously everybody, all eyes on deck. But nah.
Not only that, they went to 3 or 4 World Series in like a 5-year span, right? They went to 5 or 6 straight ALCS. They went to the World Series in 17 and won. They went in 19 and lost. They went in 21, I think, and lost to the Braves. They went in 22 and won.
22 and 1.
They have definitely continued, and a lot of those guys that were on that 17 roster have moved on. It's only basically Altuve, Bregman, and I don't even know if there's anyone else. Oh, Gurriel. Is Gurriel still there?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he left already. I thought he was gone too.
I thought he was.
Regardless, it is unfortunate that they continue to win, so it does make it look like it wasn't a fluke, but cheating definitely does help you make it a little easier to win. And the worst part was they were a fun team before we found out they were cheating. That 17 team, when they won, was a lot of fun to watch on TV. That stadium would explode when they hit home runs, but knowing they knew they were coming and how to do it kind of makes it a little less fun.
Yeah, let me correct that. He's not Yuli Gurriel is not currently there, but he was there when they won the World Series last year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so he played for Miami last year, but 2 years ago when they won in 2010, he was there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Moving on to the Dodgers, someone else we don't really care about. Kershaw officially back on a 2-year deal. It's extremely incentive driven, which is completely understandable, being given his injury history. His second year as a player option. He's going to miss the first part of the season. Probably won't be back till summertime, which obviously baseball starts in spring, so it's going to be a couple months that he's still out working back in rehab due to his surgery. He's about, what is he, 54 years old now? So this should be a pretty
Feels like
good
he should
option
be.
for the for the Dodgers. But I mean, he's just Dodger lifer. You can't not sign him if he still wants to play, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people that are talking about it think it might be a better thing for him to not start until July or August, because last year he was good in the first half of the year, the first 20 starts or so, and made the All-Star team. And then after that, he completely fell apart. Again, he's older. The injuries are starting to pile up on him. I think he's like, maybe I want to say he's under 100 strikeouts away from over 3,000. If not, actually, I think he's closer than that. I think he's under 100 from passing Sabathia for third most all time by a left-handed pitcher, and I think Sabathia is like just under 3,100. So he's going to get
He
the
has
3,000.
2,944.
Okay, so he is less than 100 away. So he's definitely going to get the 3,000 strikeout, and he'll be, I think, probably the only Dodger to do so. I would think at this point, if definitely left-handed, because Randy Johnson is the most left-handed strikeouts by a pitcher in all-time history. So he's not going to catch him at this point. But yeah, if you're Kershaw, there's nowhere else to go. The only talk when initially was maybe he'll go to Texas because he's from there. But the Rangers have enough money and enough pitching to go there, so that's not going to happen. But yeah, it'd be weird to see Kershaw in another jersey at this point. So just let him ride it out. Hopefully they don't win a World Series and we don't have to give him a
hopefully
real
not.
ring. But we'll see
Even
what
though they
happens.
spent $1 billion.
Hey, you know why though?
I just looked it up.
They spent $1 billion because a team in Arizona knocked them out and
That's
swept
right,
them in
baby.
the playoffs. Woo!
That's right. I just looked it up. I didn't realize the disparity here. Randy Johnson, 4,875 strikeouts in his game. I mean, no one's getting close to that. Not nobody. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I feel like
it's impossible.
Pitchers these days are, especially the way that they pitch, right? 6 innings and out.
Yes.
If you start getting in trouble, you're out. Like, there's so many things that just like get to the bullpen with all this analytics.
That's
Clayton,
why
though,
there's probably never going to be another 300 winner in pitching either at this point, because I don't think there's anybody actively close. And again, the way they pitch nowadays and moving forward, unless it goes back to the way it was when we were kids, probably not going to happen again either.
Yeah, no. Hall of Famer, though, right, Clayton?
Oh, yeah. Hands down. Hands down. Can't even argue that. He'll
3-time Cy Young Award winner.
Yep.
5-time ERA title, Gold Glove, MVP, and a Triple Crown winner. 10-time All-Star.
Yep. Hard to argue with that.
So, yeah. Last piece here in baseball, Brewers signing catchers Gary Sanchez. Yes, former Yankee Gary Sanchez. 1 year, $7 million. This is, the Brewers are kind of adding a couple people up, but they already have William Contreras, who is a reigning Silver Slugger winner. It's just basically add some depth for him at the catcher position, give William Contreras a day off or so. Can also kind of put him at DH.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're going to do. And they brought in Rhys Hoskins, who's a DH/first baseman. So depending on what lineup you want to go that day, you can kind of move him around. Give William Contreras the day off because catchers don't catch 150 games plus anymore. That's not really a thing as well. And then, you look at it, he had 72 games with the Padres. He hit 19 home runs with a 792 OPS. So until he got his right wrist fracture in September and it ended the season early, he had a chance at 20 to 25 home runs in a very short amount of time. So again, you're going to Milwaukee, no expectations. They've kind of unloaded. They already traded Corbin Burns. There's talk about Willie Adames, their shortstop, getting unloaded as well, and them kind of restarting or rebuilding. But it gives Sanchez an opportunity to, again, it's a 1-year deal. Maybe he ends up getting traded at the deadline because he has a good first half, and the Brewers can get some kind of compensation before him walking away for nothing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with that. But yeah, it's just kind of still kind of a weird signing at the end. Are you selling out? Are you? I mean, I guess you need players regardless of whether or not you're going all out on something. But
Plus, like we talked about, pitchers and catchers report in a week, and Blake Snell still has not signed a contract. So I'm very interested to see what he does in the next week.
Damn, pitchers and you're right. They're already reporting he's not even on a damn team.
No, and he
just
Cy
won the
Young
freaking
Award.
Cy Young. He's the best pitcher in the National League last year. Can't find anybody to pay him. Sheesh.
Very weird.
And it's not like he played it. He played in the freaking NL West. I
Yeah.
mean, 2 teams, 100-win team in the Dodgers, and then the Diamondbacks made it to the World Series. So,
and he had the
and
lowest.
Giants were there the whole time too.
Yeah, and he had the lowest ERA in the league, and he was on the Padres, and they didn't win very many games. So that tells you how good he was individually last year. And again, weird that he hasn't got paid. Maybe he's just asking for too much money.
Yeah, maybe. All right, enough of baseball till we start getting some more information and really start getting into the season.
So excited.
We're gonna we're going to move forward and start incorporating a little bit of this more. I really started to enjoy this sport. Corey, I'm going to try to get into it. Formula One, man. First race is coming up in Bahrain on March 2nd, I believe the actual race is. So less than a month away. But there's been some kind of news that's been chattered around the Formula One realm, and it really revolves around 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton has been driving for Mercedes-Benz for some time now, but he has officially signed a contract to leave next year, not this year, to leave next year and join Ferrari, one of the premier brands in the league, obviously. Not necessarily winningest, because Honda is kicking ass right now with the Red Bull team. But, Ferrari is the old school name. Terms were technically agreed to by Hamilton. He reportedly includes a pay packet, just about $87 million, close to 100 million US for the 2025 season, with the option to extend into 2026. A quarter of that actually is going into Lewis Hamilton's organization, Mission 44, and funding, some of his off-track initiatives.
That's cool.
Elkan, which is the Ferrari representative, actually offered to create a joint investment and partner with Ferrari's parent brand Exor. And so the entire thing is actually worth about $272 million and would actually give Hamilton the right to be an ambassador for this entire portfolio and the Ferrari team. Something that Mercedes-Benz actually denied Lewis Hamilton of doing. And I don't understand why. He's one of the winningest drivers ever, and he's still lights out. He will be number 2 technically to Charles Leclerc if Leclerc is still there next season in 2025. But stepping up big for Ferrari, and I like the change. It's crazy because basically after he signed this, the stock price went up in Ferrari 10%, which is, 10% doesn't sound like a lot, but when your stock is already really high, they basically have made up more. I think they paid him about 100 million and made on the stock about $1 billion. So they're already benefiting from signing the 7-time champion. I know you're starting to get into this. Any comments you got, my friend?
Well, the crazy thing that caught my ear as you're telling this is he signed it for next season, so he still has to drive for a whole year under the contract he's currently with Mercedes-Benz, and then he gets to leave. It's not like you're a free agent and go right away. That's very strange to me.
Yeah. I think the Ferrari just kind of saw that Mercedes wasn't giving him what he wanted, and although he's still technically under contract and a man of his word, he was looking for something else. And maybe it was trying to put some pressure on Mercedes to kind of give him what he wanted. And Mercedes says 9 because it's German, so I was trying to run with that. And Ferrari said, "Then fine, we'll take it." And man, has it worked out for Ferrari? They don't have to they're not even racing with the guy yet, and they're already making $1 billion. So
yeah, it's kind of like the Dodgers with Ohtani. Like they're deferring all that money, but they're going to make so much money on him now and moving forward for the next 10 years. Like if the Dodgers had like a stock price, it went way up based on the fact that they signed Ohtani and they're already going to make money off it. So hey, hats off.
That's a good point. Great comparison.
Yeah, hats off to him, man. And again, if you can get the money, and not only that, you talked about he's putting a big chunk of it into his like own mission that goes off the race course and goes into different philanthropy things and stuff. I mean, that's a huge thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I like it. And Lewis Hamilton, bro, I mean, like, dude, he wins 44. I mean, he wins 44. That's his mission, 44. He's won seven championships. Now, we were talking about it yesterday. Lafay was kind of going through it. He technically kind of could have won 8. There was some controversy around one of him, but technically he's won 7 titles, and it's, I think, second of all. So it's pretty good that Lewis Hamilton, and I like that he's getting his org involved. I'm kind of looking it up right now. Mission 44 is a charitable foundation that supports bold organizations, leaders, and ideas to reimagine the future and empower young people from undeserved communities. So they kind of go in and give education, certain employment opportunities, and really empower young people, especially in places where there's not a ton of money.
That's awesome.
And they just basically trying to, build up their life. So props to Lewis and props to Mercedes for agreeing to all that.
Yeah, that's dope. And I don't know much about as far as like the racing and all that kind of stuff, but I do, if I remember correctly, he was on the the David Letterman thing series he has on Netflix where he interviews people and he does it like an hour long. And I think Lewis Hamilton was one of those people he interviewed, and he was very well spoken, just like super smart guy. Just seemed like a really cool, honest dude who's just happens to be really good at hitting that gas pedal. That's all I know. That's all I know how to do with cars. I don't know much about them. As gas means go and brake means stop. But some of the stuff they do on those tracks, because it's not just a circle like in NASCAR, man. Power to them to even get through that shit.
Yeah, dude, the G forces that are, I mean, it's the peak of racing in the world, basically, is Formula One. They have millions and millions and millions, close to hundreds of millions of dollars poured into the technology that goes into it. I mean, each of those cars is worth $15 to $20 million alone, little pieces here and there. So, I mean, it's a ton of money that gets dumped into it. And like, again, it's the fastest sport in the world, basically. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We're going to try to incorporate that more as the races kind of go on throughout the season. We'll give you guys a review of that. So make sure you stay tuned.
Yeah, for sure. And then one last little, not that it's sports related, but it's not a sport itself. I read this article the other day I thought was really interesting, so I wanted to share with you guys. I know me and Brendan kind of talked about it a little bit. There's rumors or talk that ESPN, Fox, Warner Brothers, Discovery are planning to create a sports streaming platform in the fall, possibly, if not in 24, for sure in 25. But they want to include at least 15 networks across all 4 major sports. This is basically what Hulu did with live TV, where they kind of combined everything into one so you can watch it through the library or the live TV stuff. And they're going to do it with sports. So the platform will include NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, WNBA, NASCAR, college sports, men's and women's NCAA tournament, golf, tennis, the FIFA World Cup.
Damn.
It's going to be huge. And it says that as of right now, they're talking about subscribers that you already have the bundle of Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever. It's going to kind of combine you or keep you in it. It doesn't sound like it's going to be its own separate thing as far as payment. But yeah, instead of having to go through Hulu and find the sports section and see what you want to watch, they're going to basically bring all the sports into one thing, so you don't have to continuously search through other libraries of different things. It's just going to be sports stuff, which is going to be huge for us, obviously, as fans of sports in general. But the fact that they're bringing multiple and not just the 4 major, but all these other sports we talked about across, I mean, this is going to be huge, man. This is going to change the way that TV, at least sports is included, is going to be watched. And I mean, it's not weird that it's coming up probably before the NBA gets into their new TV rights deal too. So,
yeah,
good timing on
it's
that.
actually going to have a ton of channels that we're all used to watching: ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, the SEC network, the ACC network, ESPN News, ABC, Fox, FS1, FS2, the Big Ten network. Obviously, we know the TNT and TBS, True TV. And we'll also include some ESPN Plus. So
that means the
it's going to be super
involved.
exciting.
Woo! There we go. See?
Oh, there you go. National Lacrosse League. Let's go.
Dude,
what's their motto again?
Welcome to the next major league. They are really pushing it this year. There's talk of expansion in the next 2 years, maybe again, and maybe possibly Montreal. They're about to have, I think, Halifax, and I can't remember who's going to play. I think it's Toronto and Halifax are going to play each other in Montreal. I think it's more of a test to trying to see how that market is. But on the East Coast in New York and in Canada, they sell out these games like 15 to 16,000 people. The Buffalo Bandits, who were the champions from last year and were in the title championship round the year before, they play at the same arena that the Buffalo Sabres play, and they sell out 17,000 plus for every home game. Like, it is huge on the East
nothing
Coast.
else to do there, I guess.
Yeah, it is bigger on the East Coast. I mean, a lot of those private schools and the East Coast in general have been a lacrosse tank for a long time, but starting to expand out here to the West Coast. Obviously, San Diego and Vegas are the 2 teams furthest. There is a team in Vancouver up in Canada. So just, again, if you're into hockey or you like lacrosse at all, box lacrosse, as they call it, or indoor, as I became a fan of it when I first started watching, it is a blast. It is fun. It's a up and down pace. It's like hockey, but there's a shot clock, so it's constantly moving. When I was at the game last week in San Diego on Sunday, there was a couple different fights. Again, the Colorado Mammoth and the Seals are rivals and hate each other, so there was definitely some people one guy got double teamed into the boards and was like being choked out with the helmet. I mean, it is crazy. It is a blast to watch. So if you get a chance to check it out on the ESPN Plus during the weekend when they have their games, please do so, because it is going to keep growing and it is awesome to watch.
Do you work for them or?
No, I don't. I'm just a season ticket holder down in San Diego. It's crazy
because you're promoting them really well,
dude.
Man.
I'm telling you,
killing it. I love it.
I work in hockey, so I get like the hockey idea of the sport itself, and it is just so much fun to watch them. And then the emotion that they play with compared to hockey. Hockey, the guys score, they don't really have a huge celebration. It's more about a team-oriented thing. But when they score down there, man, in San Diego, that Austin Stotts last week had 6 goals. He is fired up, running into the board.
Sock trick.
Yeah, sock trick. Just the emotion they play with is a blast to be a part of. And again, I just hope it continues to grow, because I'm paying really nothing for the season tickets down in San Diego, so it's going to start getting more expensive at some point. But man, is it a blast. And again, yeah, I don't work for NL, but
maybe I'll go down with you one time, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure. You should. I mean, the tickets are super cheap right now. And the other thing too is if the NLL, anybody out there is listening, please get an app. Why is there not an NLL app? And please update the website. It's decent, but it needs to be better. This sport is going to continue to grow. Take advantage and get the fans into it now. Get an NLL app. That's all I'm asking for.
If you'd like to use our podcast to promote it, feel free to contact us down below in the comment section.
We'll happily put an NLL logo, Steelers logo, whatever you guys want. We will happily promote it because I'm a huge fan and just continue to hope that it grows and we get more into it.
All right. Enough lacrosse.
All right, I'm sorry. I went on a tangent. That happens a lot here.
Okay, well, that kind of wraps up the episode in its main bit. There's a ton. Of course, we always start these episodes wondering how much we're going to even have to talk about and end up talking for 2 hours. So
yeah, I don't know how that happens.
It's cool. We do have our normal Thursday section coming up, so let's jump into it, man. This week in sports history.
This week in sports history.
This week in sports history, we have two, like we always do. One of them I really like, and one of them we didn't get to see. So we're going to start with the one that I didn't get to see. We'll go backwards a little bit. And we have a small clip for you as well we're throwing here for the YouTube audience so you can kind of see some of what we missed. On February 8th, today, 1986, Atlanta Hawks guard Spud Webb, at only 5'7", wins the NBA Slam Dunk competition. Webb receives a perfect 50 from the judges in the last 2 rounds to shock the defending dunk champion, Dominique Wilkins, who is a giant. The crowd at Dallas, honestly, it really shocks everybody. It was in Dallas's Reunion Arena. So we have a quick clip of a couple of the dunks here, the 2 50-point dunks that are referenced. Let's check those out real quick.
Without being able to palm the ball out of sight. Woo! And Spud Webb comes through in the clutch. So much excitement around the NBA. It's really terrific to see that happen. And what that does, it gives so much hope to all the little men who play the game of basketball throughout the country.
That dude looks tiny, but hey, he gets up there, bro. So,
dude,
good for him.
He looks super tiny, but then I realized he's still taller than I am. So
yeah, and he's just a
Not
tad
much,
shorter than
but
me. I'm not tall, but
he
yeah,
is
that's
he is
funny.
slightly taller than I am by an inch or so.
That's funny. The second one here is one that I just absolutely loved. It was really tumultuous at the beginning of the game, but obviously ended with the good guys winning. So, February 5th, 2017. Tom Brady leads one of the greatest comebacks in sports history, let alone Super Bowl history, lifting the New England Patriots from a 25-point deficit to the Patriots' 5th NFL championship in the game's first overtime finish. Patriots scored 19 points in the final quarter, including a pair of 2-point conversion that tied the game. Then they marched relentlessly downfield and throw it to James White for a 2-yard touchdown run in overtime, beating the Atlanta Falcons 34-28. The always remembered 28-3. Oh my gosh. Falcons fans were probably in their freaking they were probably just so disappointed. And Falcons bettors, man, they thought they had that wrapped up, right?
Oh, big time. And not only that, now when the anniversary happened the other day, if you're on Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter, as X, whatever you want to call it these days, they posted the tweet that Atlanta Falcons posted at the end of the third quarter, like 15 more minutes, and like they were counting down to go get this win. And then they ultimately, again, don't talk any shit until the final buzzer goes off and you win, man. That's part of the shit that happens. But the crazy thing,
especially against Tom Brady,
right? But the two things that come to mind when this moment comes up is, one, the picture of Brady on the bench when they're down 28-3 and he's like looking down at the ground like, oh my God, we're gonna lose this game and we're gonna lose so bad. I can't even believe this is gonna be on my record. And the second thing comes to mind is the coach, or the offensive coordinator for the Falcons at that time, was the coach who's coaching this weekend for the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to include it, besides obviously I love talking out Mr. Tom Brady. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, maybe it'd be a weird thing if they were down 28-3.
Oh my gosh.
The Chiefs were at some point in time. I think Kyle Shanahan would just have a heart attack. So I'm hoping for a lot closer game than that, though. So we'll see.
That would be crazy to come up, but yeah, hopefully that's not the case this weekend.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much wraps up this one. Another marathon episode for you guys. We have a bunch of these facts, dude. We got one at the end of every episode. On Mondays, we got MILF Monday. Corey gives us some just random facts that are coming out of nowhere. I kind of like those, dude, because you're just like, wait, that's a real thing?
Oh,
And then
just wait
on
till-
Thursdays, we
just wait
have.
till our next episode. I got a good one already.
Oh, okay. All right, sweet. And then, of course, on Thursdays, we kind of try to take it back in the history books and just remind all the viewers and listeners about something that's previously happened and great feats in sports history. So if you want to listen to any of them, you can go back to all of our episodes and check them out. Corey, where do they find that, man?
Yeah, if you want to listen to just the audio version, you can find us on Apple and Spotify. Or if you'd like to, as Brennan always says, look us up on YouTube and see our beautiful faces and all the different clips that we have and graphics that we put up on the screen for you. You can look us up on YouTube by searching Our View from the Bench.
Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RViewFTB, where we are really hoping to be more active. I need to get on that. Apologies, but we'd love for you to follow us there as well. Super Bowl weekend, man. How's it looking for you?
Well, got to get through Offspring Night tomorrow first with the Ducks, which we talked about earlier. The store looks amazing and awesome, so I'm really excited to see how that goes tomorrow. Then I'm working a concert on Saturday for a Spanish band. I think they're called Bronco. Not a huge amount of merch. Apparently, I don't be there till 4 and doors are at 6, which I think they said they might be bringing 4 boxes. So not a whole lot of work to be done there. But I won't
carry that yourself almost.
Yeah, but the show doesn't end until 11:45, so I'm hoping to get out of there before 1:30. We'll see how that goes. Again, hopefully we even sell out before the show's over because we have so little and we could just leave. That would be the best way for it to go. But
Even
we'll see
better.
what happens.
Well, hopefully for that, man.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, man, just ready for Super Bowl Sunday. Actually, now that you mention it for next episode, we might have to do Tuesday. I'm working WWE Raw. Oh, wait, no, that's a week away. I lied. Move past that.
Liar.
We'll do the Super Bowl recap on Monday's episode. But yeah, looking forward to the game. Again, trying to win my $20 off my grandma. I know that sounds weird, but we do a bet every time, like I mentioned earlier. Also, I'm waiting for my mom to send me my Super Bowl square numbers so I know what quarter numbers to look out for.
Oh, yeah, I don't know which my numbers are either yet.
So, but other than that, just looking forward to the game. How about you, sir?
Yeah, just wrapping up work tomorrow. Luckily, it's my work from home day on Friday.
Nice.
I got a couple of Monday and Friday, so be working from home. Probably hit the gym up, make some dinner. I got this lemon chicken that I've been on lately. It's just I got this nice marinade that I make, handmade, everything handmade, hand squeezed lemons, hand cut garlic, the whole shebang. Yeah. So probably make some dinner and then just kind of relax, get ready. I know the wifey kind of cleaned up the house, so we'll be able to relax and watch the Super Bowl on Sunday. And I'm rooting for. Go your bet, I guess, but I'm rooting for our bet, bro. Let's hit that parlay, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Get the parlay, get some squares, hopefully, and win some money and make it worthwhile for us.
Awesome. Well, appreciate everybody stopping by. We'll get you out of here. I know we only took 2 hours of your time, but thank you for, as always, for seeing things from our view from the bench. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore 4th Studios production.